Fam, good morning. What's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Could I get a roll tide inside the comment box? We made it to Monday. Wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. You know what song that is. And you know what you're watching right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you had an amazing Sunday. If you're off today on Labor Day, I hope you guys are enjoying your beautiful Monday. And I hope that you are off to a really good start. I appreciate you guys for being here. You know what? As we open up the show, could we get some LSU sucks emojis rolling inside the comment box? You know what? Let's go right to LSU and the opening press conference. This is absolutely hilarious. So last night, which I thought was a really good game. We're going to talk about the top 25 scoreboard. But while everybody's getting checked in, let's play that Brian Kelly press conference from last night. I thought, honestly, look, I know he was mad. How could you not be after losing the game like that? USC is a really good team. That's the best USC team that I've seen in a while. And that's a really good LSU team as well. Nussmeier, quarterback, he did a really good job. USC's quarterback and the weapons that they have, those teams are really talented. All right, but Brian Kelly was upset last night. I just uploaded the press conference to YouTube. You got to check it out. So let's watch Brian Kelly. He's going to get upset. I'm going to go full screen, and we're going to watch this together as we start out Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope I'm going to be with you guys till about 12:30, so get comfortable. All right, we're going to go all the way through Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference, which will be at 12, and then at 11:30, as I have on the schedule to the left of your screen, we got Coach Sheridan and Coach Kane Womack. But first, we go to Brian Kelly, and let's hear this real quick.
Than it is the failings of the inability to run. We ran the ball well enough to set up everything else that we needed to do. Do I want to run the ball better? Absolutely. There's no doubt. I think our execution needs to get better. But having said that, we ran the ball well enough to win this game. But you can't win it if you don't score touchdowns in the areas that we won or come away with nothing from the 3-yard line.
Phone call from the boss?
Sorry, there's even an ad on my side. Let me get through this, and then we'll come back to it on the other side. Didn't anticipate an ad being there. This is the internet. There's always curveballs, so let me get to that part because you have to see where Coach Kelly slams the podium. It'll come up in just a second. Who saw this? Who's already seen it? I just uploaded it as a short as well, so you guys can check that out. Today on the show, we're going to go over the top 25 scoreboard. We'll go over game balls, pro football focus grades, the freshman report, the mailbag. We'll talk about Jalen Milroe. We'll do Monday morning quarterback. And when I have that, you guys can call into the show and, give me feedback on that. And we'll dive into it. I'll take you all the way to Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference, which you can watch right here on YouTube as well. We'll go back to the monitor. Sorry about that. And we'll do Coach Kelly from last night after the loss to USC.
Right, I know it's game one, but were you surprised and or taken aback by just the number of penalties and kind of the nature of some of them tonight?
Well, I mean, I've already commented on the 2 personal foul penalties. They impacted the game. And they're from veterans and from guys that know better and are leaders. And I have to look at myself and say, I have to do better because they're not getting the message. So, we had the 2 penalties there. Clearly that impact those 2 penalties impacted the game. We had a couple of false start penalties. We had a PI that, I thought one was clearly a PI. The other one was, could have gone either way. 10 is too many. Let's put it that way. 10 is too many, but 2 personal foul penalties that set up scores is unacceptable.
John?
Coach, is it disappointing when you have, Savion Jones kind of really rose up, Aaron Anderson, John Emery, they kind of put you in position? Is it disappointing when those guys perform and you don't get a victory?
Hell yes. Hell yes. I mean, and that's what I said to the team. I said, we had some guys played their butts off tonight, and we're sitting here again. We're sitting here again talking about the same things. About not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach. And I got to coach him better because it's unacceptable for us not to have found a way to win this football game.
All right, that was Coach Brian Kelly after their loss yesterday to LSU. Who saw that? That was the Slam. The Slam is going to live forever. That's going to be up there. I don't know. Nothing will ever be as good as Mike Gundy. I'm 40. I'm a man. I'm 40. Nothing will ever top that. But the Slam is pretty good. Rat Poison's up there as well. I'll tell you what. I get it. He's a fiery competitor. Choke artist? I guess you could argue that. The LSU sucks emojis are hilarious too. They pop so well with that purple. So if you haven't used them, if you're a fan funder, go ahead and use that. Aside from the hilarious temper tantrum that he threw, let me ask you. Let's start with LSU, and then we're going to go over the top 25 scoreboard. Let's just talk about LSU for right now. Did you think that they were a good football team last night? Type Y for LSU if you think they were a good football team. Type no if you felt they're not a good football team. Myself, I'm going to type Y inside the comment box. They look like a pretty good team to me. I've already seen, 10, 12 games or whatever it's been. That's a good team. Aaron Anderson, he's good. The quarterback's good. I thought this team's a lot better than the Florida State or than the Clemson. Marcus is in with the Y. Christopher says F no. That's hard. JS Webb. See, but I would say at least, look, we're getting some Ys. I felt that team, they're a pretty good team, and I thought the quarterback did a really good job distributing the football. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. Thought the defense played well. They're a good team. Now, on the other side, let me ask you this about USC. I have been critical of USC for a long time. Do you think that USC was a good football team? Type Y if you think so. Type N if you don't. I think, honestly, that's probably the best USC football team that I've seen in a little bit. Not because they won the game, but because they had a really good quarterback, they have really good wide receivers, they have dynamic weapons, but most importantly, I thought they played good defense too. What's up, Bentley boy? I see you inside the comment box. I haven't even given out any fan shout-outs. Thanks to Bob for being here. Bentley, Mike G, Case, Ephraim, Jerry, Roll Tide Props, Christopher, JS Webbs, Charles Weaver. I see you guys. Welcome, No Cap. Welcome to the Fan Funder Club. I love that. That's what's up. USC did look improved, right? Not just because they won the game. Take away the result of the game, I felt they looked pretty good. Flying around the ball. That's been the problem with USC, I don't know, over the last 5 years. I've never really taken them serious because I knew that their defense is suspect. You get a new defense in there, you get these guys flying around. That's a good team. And you know what? When you kind of look at the early landscape, and it's very early, who's to say USC can't compete for the Big Ten? I mean, Michigan was swinging it out with Fresno State, right? I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Henderson and Bama Football of YouTube. Today on the show, I'm going to take you all the way through to Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference, which will be at 12 p.m. And then at 11:30, you get Nick Sheridan and Kane Womack. We'll also have that right here on Bama Football on YouTube. That's why I think going forward, and heads up, now looking at my schedule and understanding the way that Alabama football has their media schedule set up, I'm thinking about having my Monday show at 10, and then I'll go through the press conference. And then I think Tuesday through Friday, I'll be live at 9 a.m. So 10 a.m. on Monday, and then Tuesday through Friday at 9 a.m. And then, of course, Saturday with the watch along. Sunday, you know what? I have to be honest. I have to, Sunday, because I was streaming for almost 6 hours on Saturday. So it was little bit jet lagged, YouTube lagged, whatever. So Sunday, I got other responsibilities. I'm a father first and foremost, right? So I had a video that went up Sunday. So I think that might be the schedule. Just, for the people who are out there who love schedules, I love a schedule. So just heads up on that. And hope it works for you guys. Honestly, I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much. All right. Let's go to the monitor, and let's look at some news on Kadyn Proctor before we get on the top 25. Now, this was just in by Matt Zenitz of 247 Sports, and I think it was Alex Scarborough, who does a really good job covering Alabama for 247. Have an update on Kadyn Proctor. Now, it was interesting. Before the game, Kadyn Proctor got hurt. And you know what? A lot of people didn't even notice it. Not because, it's a 6'7", 369, one of the best offensive linemen in the country. He got hurt in warmups. Man, we don't even know what the injury is. Upper body, we know that. Coach Kalen DeBoer, I don't even think he had time to figure out what it was. Starting left tackle did not start. He was injured, so he didn't even play against Western Kentucky. And I'm going to have player grades for you guys in just a little bit as well, so get comfy. I'll be here. If you need to dip out, come back, whatever, I might even hit the commercial a couple times. This would be a long show. I appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to take your calls too, probably around, 10:45 maybe? 10:30 maybe. I'll let you guys know. I'll put the call in line at the bottom of the screen. Coach Kalen DeBoer didn't really go into detail about the injury. 24/7 is reporting that it's not serious and that it's week to week. I guess, maybe rest him up this week. See where he is going into this game against Wisconsin. So to start the game, and really the first series or the second series, Alabama had a left tackle, their backup, which was Elijah Pritchett. And then what happened was, I had never seen this. I talked about this on my Sunday segment. Two players lost their helmet on the same play from the offensive line. That is the strangest thing. So Parker Brailsford and Tyler Booker, they had to go out. So you had a new center, you had a new guard, and you had a new left tackle. That was wild. Charles, what's up, man? Christopher, I see you inside the comment box, man. Thank you for being here. Marcus as well. Southern Red, what's going on? Appreciate you. And you're right, man. You're like, how does a guy like that get hurt in the pregame? Hey, Javion, I see you, man. What's up? Appreciate you being here. Hey, and Byron, thanks for sending me those emails, man. Thank you so much. I got your emails. We're going to go over the Pro Football Focus grades in just a minute. We'll also look at snap counts. So Pro Football Focus, and before we load that up, it's former coaches that coached at the college level and NFL level. They now work for Pro Football Focus. They go to the games or they watch them on TV, and they grade out the individual players. The coaching staff at Alabama also has their own grading system for the players. So take them what they were. They're just analytical numbers. But when you look at the numbers, they do make sense. Sometimes they don't. You're like, what? So whatever. They're fun to look at. And I've been bringing them. We've been talking about Pro Football Focus grades for a long time on here. People love the stats and the analytics. You'll see when I pull them up. They're cool to look at. All right, just in from Jarvis. Alabama is favored by 31 over South Florida. David, good morning to you. Keith Holcomb, what's up? We're going to look at South Florida. We'll just touch on it on the back end. Alex Golish is their head football coach. You remember last year's game, it was 17-3. Yo, this team is better than Western Kentucky. I promise you that. The quarterback is better. The defense is better. 31 points. Yeah, the way that the Buzzsaw played last week, the Bama Buzzsaw, right? But 31 points is a lot. All right, here's the college football scoreboard. We'll run through this real quick. While I go through this, can you guys list a game or a team that stood out to you? How about that? That's easier. Go ahead and post a team that's in the top 25 that impressed you from the top 25. Obviously Bama, but like, was there a team out there that you were impressed with? Let's go over the college football scoreboard. Good morning, Chris. I appreciate you being here, man. Georgia beat Clemson, who was ranked 14th, by a score of 34-3. Carson Beck, he turned up. Georgia dominated that second half. The first half of that game, I mean, Clemson played decent, but Georgia clearly had the better athletes. Ohio State beat Akron 52-6. Oregon beat Idaho, who is now FCS, by a score of 24-14, which was interesting because the game was kind of close. Did you guys see this? I kept on watching that game, and it was close. A lot of people talking about Vandy. You know, the quarterback, I'm going to hype the quarterback up forever, Diego Pavia. Yo, he had 300 total yards, leading Vandy past Virginia Tech. SEC's built different than the ACC, right? Texas beat Colorado State 52-0. They look like a buzzsaw. You got to see Arch Manning get in, right? Alabama beat up on Western Kentucky 63-0. Ole Miss beat Furman 76-0 in a game where Jackson Dart had 50 yards passing or something like that. Look, that's a good win for Notre Dame, going to Texas A&M and winning by a score of 20-13. College Station, very difficult environment. Elko starts his career off 0-1, losing to Notre Dame. The game was close. It was like 6-6 for forever before Notre Dame took a 13-6 lead. Penn State beat West Virginia 34-12. Michigan beat Fresno State. That game was also close, right? That game was it was odd. Some of these games are oddly close. Florida State and Boston College tonight. Yo. Oh man, should we? Drama. Does anyone think that Boston College will beat Florida State tonight? Oh my goodness. You know, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun with the watch along and the meltdown after Florida State lost to Georgia Tech. If there's any drama that's going to happen in college football, you can guarantee that it might happen to Florida State. Like it's like a drama. Who you guys got? Boston College or Florida State? Type B for Boston College and type F for Florida State. Pastor's saying no, he's taking Florida State. Yo, if DJU plays like he did in the late in the game, that Florida State team's not in bad shape. Okay, going back to Notre Dame before we move on in the top 25. If you look at Notre Dame's schedule, it's light. This team's going to win a ton of games. They might not lose. Pastor is saying that Florida State has something to prove. They better. Yeah, absolutely, man. Keith, I love that, man. 4 + 2 = 6. Oh, man, some players have it. We're going to talk about those players in just a minute. All right, we go back to the full screen. Missouri beat Murray State 51-0. Utah beat Southern Utah 49-0. LSU lost to number 23 USC 27-20. We just played Brian Kelly's press conference. Tennessee beat Chattanooga 69-3. Oklahoma beat Temple 51-3. Oklahoma State beat South Dakota, who's the number 1 ranked team in FCS 44-20. Kansas State beat UT Martin 41-6. Miami, let me ask you, this is interesting. You look to some, players under Coach Saban. I mean, 2 of them went head to head, Miami and Florida. Mario Cristobal and Bill Napier. You think Florida can run the ACC? Is it too early to tell? What do you guys think? Who was impressed with Miami? I'm seeing a lot of B's inside the comment box about an upset for Boston College. I think the line is still like 13.5 for Florida State. I mean, it is in Tallahassee. Who was impressed with Miami? They're pretty good. It was one of the best clips, too, from the weekend. Was when Bill and Napier couldn't open up the water bottle. Did you see this? He couldn't open up the water bottle. So after the game, he comes up and the titling is so funny. It's like, can you imagine getting dominated by Miami and then coming out and being dominated by a water bottle. he could not open it. All right. Wow, the line's 16.5 for Florida State. Oh, Boston College, that covers that, right? Kimberly, what's up? I see you inside the comment box. Yeah, Miami's maybe a team that could run the ACC for sure. All right, we go back to full screen. Talking about the top 25. I'll take your calls here in a little while. We're going to fly through player grades in just a second, look at snap counts as well. I appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Henderson at Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you very much. And if you're out there, I'm going to start doing my show on Mondays at 10 so I can go all the way to Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference. Last week I did like a 3-hour show, and I was like, I do have enough context to go 3 hours. But that's 10 a.m. spot's pretty good. So please let me know in the feedback in the comment box if that's cool. And then on Tuesday through Friday, I'll be live at 9. So Texas A&M, as mentioned, lost to Notre Dame 20-13. Arizona beat New Mexico 61-39. Kansas beat Linderwood. I don't even know where Linderwood's at. 48-0. USC beat number 13 LSU. Yo, and as I mentioned, LSU and USC, those are really good teams. I was really impressed with those teams. I like those teams. Really good quarterbacks, really good on offense. And USC much improved on defense. NC State beat Western Carolina 38-0, and Iowa beat Illinois by a score of 42-0. Pastor in with a 5 spot. I appreciate you, Pastor. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Super chats are greatly appreciated. Same thing with becoming a fan funder. Only $2.99 to support the product right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here on Bama Football on YouTube. My name is Kyle Henderson, and hope you guys are enjoying the show right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We'll take you all the way till 12 p.m. where we got Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference. You guys ready to see some game balls and Pro Football Focus grades? Let's do it. So I took a little bit of time and I looked at the game balls, and I sat down and wanted to do my best to really highlight the players who I felt, game balls, you can give a game ball to a lot of people. And LT Overton just missed out. I thought he did a really good job, but here I picked 6 guys, and I'll go over each of them. If there's not a guy in here that I didn't list, it is what it is. We'll get them some other point in time. But here was I'm going to provide my game balls and then some rationale why I picked these guys. Okay. And if I have a misspelling, I'll go ahead and fix it inside the comment box as well. But when I look to, let me see if I have. So let's start on the left and look at Jalen Milroe. In only 34 snaps, he had 5 touchdowns. He has a Pro Football Focus grade of 80. His deep ball, he has a Pro Football Focus grade of 95. We'll dive into that in just a second. And we'll go into Jalen Milroe. And I know we didn't have a lot of a snapshot of what he did, but let me ask you, when you look to Jalen Milroe and the limited opportunities that we got to see from him, one thing that really impressed me, his deep ball, did I know it was going to be there? Of course. He picked up from last year. But how refreshing was it to see when he took the ball and ran for 40 yards? Like, nobody was opened, and it wasn't just like he flew out. Man, that was really impressive to me. And I felt like he was handcuffed last year, or he just didn't want to. I don't know. No Cap is saying Jalen didn't look good, Ty was better. I disagree with that. I think that Ty, he did look good, but Jalen Milroe looked really good to me. But I appreciate the feedback, No Cap. Only 34 snaps and he comes up with 5 touchdowns. Imagine when he has 50 snaps, 60. Robert Hill, what's up, man? See you inside the comment box. Light work, only threw the ball 9 times. And again, we'll do a deep dive into Jalen Milroe here in a few minutes. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for being here on the show. I also gave a game ball to Justice Haynes. I didn't know who to give it to, like him or Jam Miller. What it came down to was because of the fact that, like, he had that 85-yard touchdown run. I mean, Jam Miller, Justin, I think you're going to rotate game balls throughout the entire season. He had a grade of 74.4. The best clip was on SportsCenter when the security guard was just like waving him in like a third base coach, right? He's just like, come on down. Do you see that? That was amazing. I said this yesterday in my Sunday segment. I feel there's a lot of really good quarterbacks in college football this year, right? Every year. But I don't think there's a lot of programs that have an elite tandem at running back. And that's what I think will be able to really carry Alabama when they get in some of these bigger games in the back end of the season. Now, Western Kentucky, they did a pretty good job stuffing up Richard Young. But Daniel Hill looked good, and so did Kevin Riley. Hey, Christian, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much. We're talking game balls right now. After this, we'll go into Pro Football Focus grades. But to have just 10 snaps and get 102 yards is crazy. Next up for the game balls is Ryan Williams. Is this real life? Or is this a video game player? You're telling me he had 19 snaps, 139 yards, his very first catch. Like, you can't write this stuff. His very first catch is a 80-plus yard touchdown. Like, and he's been doing this all fall camp, by the way. He's been slicing up the defense. Obviously, the secondary looked good against Western Kentucky. TJ Finley was not it, clearly. You're going to face a better quarterback this coming week. But Ryan Williams has been doing this to everybody. Hey, by the way, I just saw Will. Wow, Bill, you're coming in a little bit late. The update on Kadyn Proctor is it looks to be week to week. Now, that's not official. That's from Alex Scarborough of 24/7 Sports. I think they have an update. I haven't seen an official update. We'll carry you all the way to 12 p.m. to Coach Kalen DeBoer, and I guarantee you that'll be the first question somebody asks Coach is about Kadyn Proctor. So no official word, but it looks like a week-to-week deal. If you missed it and you're like, Kadyn Proctor's hurt? Yes. He didn't even practice, or he didn't even play in the game against Western Kentucky. He got hurt in warm-ups, and he was in a sling. Talking about game balls right now, we'll go into Pro Football Focus grades in just a minute. What were you thinking when Ryan Williams what were you thinking when he caught that touchdown? What was amazing to me is when the TV zoomed to him, he was about 15 yards behind the corner. And the ball was thrown right on the money, in stride. Like that was crazy. Has there ever been a 17-year-old? He's got to be the first 17-year-old to score a touchdown here. Did anyone write that? Is he? Yeah, no hat for Memorial Day. Labor Day. And then the second catch that he had, Jalen Milroe stays in the pocket, right? He's looking. He's able to find Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams goes across, said it was a post route, right? You saw the interview. He catches it. He's able to make a play and then run after the catch for another touchdown. I was like, are you serious? Like, the legend is crazy, right? Because we love freshmen here at Alabama, right? Like, we can't wait to hype them up because they're like 5 stars, 4 stars. It's always going to be like that. It's been like that. And sometimes, like look at Keon Keeley. Look what we're doing, right? We're like, man, why isn't he playing? Sometimes it just takes a couple seasons, roster spots, whatever, right? Michael Coleman's not surprised at all, right? Michael Coleman sent me this clip of Ryan Williams, and he was like, I don't know, like 7 years old, returning a punt for a touchdown. Was that a punt? I figured, look, you want to know something? Okay. I'll show you something. I'll try to bring it up on the screen. I felt good. I've been talking Alabama football. I felt good about the team. So I went ahead and did DraftKings, okay, where you pick your players. Look, gamble responsibly. I just do Alabama because I follow them. I put Ryan Williams in my roster. See if you can see that. I won a nice $600, okay? 600. Play a little bit of fantasy football. My lineup looked like this. I figured the game plan. So I had Jalen Milroe as my captain, Justice Haynes, Jan Miller, Richard Young, Johnson from Western Kentucky, because you got to pick one of the players, and then I put Ryan Williams, who had, by the way, 30 fantasy points. Okay? Yeah, so it's a nice little score. But when you know the game plan, right? I mean, we talk this every single day. It'd be almost ridiculous that, you don't have. Now, coming into this next game, it'll be interesting to see what the game plan is, because South Florida, they're a better team than Western Kentucky. And I'm not trying to scare you about, this and that. They're a good team. They were a good team last year. Alex Gosh is a good coach. They got a really good quarterback. He's a problem. He had 276 yards last week, 200 yards passing, 76 yards rushing. We continue on the game balls. We're going to talk about player grades in just a second. And then we'll go to Jalen Milroe, and then I'll take your calls. We'll play Monday morning. When you call in, let's play Monday morning quarterback. That means talking about like what we learned, this and that. Oh, yeah, what was it like not to have Eli calling the game? Do you guys like Chris Stewart? Seems like Chris Stewart, everybody likes Chris Stewart. I mean, it's, change is different. I love seeing Coach Saban in the stands. That made me happy. Terran Arnold was there. They were posted up in the box. That was cool. He was 5 years old in that video? Oh, my God. Oh, man. I'll show that sometime, Michael, if that's cool with you. All right, let's talk about defensive game balls. Look, Deontay Lawson had a really good game as well. I didn't know who to choose from. I picked Jahad Campbell because he had a higher grade, just slightly ahead of Deontay Lawson. Each of those guys combined for 18 tackles. Jahad Campbell, who wasn't, look, this defense, did it seem like this defense was faster to you? I get it, it's Western Kentucky. Just looking at the physical play of the players and the speed, did it seem like they were faster? It seemed like they were faster to me. It seemed like Jahad Campbell, I think Cole Kubelik tweeted out, or was it Clint Lamb? One of the two put some footage out on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Jahad Campbell running to the sideline. It was unbelievable. The chase down speed, the defense was fast. Right? A real nobody. Agree. They were fast. The swarm defense, that was swarming. The swarm defense is about getting to the quarterback, which they did in the first quarter. Remember when Q-Rob came around the edge and was able to get to TJ Finley? What happened in the first quarter? 2 interceptions. We're going to talk about Keon Sabb in just a second. But the defense was flying, and there was a lot of rotation. When I show you the Pro Football grades coming up in the snap counts, you'll see how many players got to play. Now, Jahad Campbell played in a lot of snaps. 46 snaps, 9 tackles, a grade of 85.8. And when you look at the Pro Football Focus grades, the thing you have to think about the grades is their grading system from what you read, like an 80 is really like an A in school. A 70 would be a B. It doesn't match up specifically with grading. And if you get a player who's in the 90s and anything, that's like elite. So there's so think of the 80s as A's in school, and then anything in the 90s is like exceptional elite. I appreciate you guys for being here. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I'll continue with the grades in just 1 second right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining me today. I appreciate you guys for being here. Please remember to hit that thumbs up button. It really helps me. Trying to get to. And I do a lot of multitasking, so if I pause or something like that, I do all the editing myself on the show. I actually had T up in the house on for game day, which was really helpful. So I appreciate that. All right, let's continue with game balls. How about the play of Quay Russo? Who was impressed with him? He's literally like a trending topic right now. He had 30 snaps, 4 tackles. You know, I feel bad because I didn't put LT Overton on, but I had to go with Quay. I felt that he was just everywhere. And he's a player because, you know, we're hyping up Keanu Coe. Not to say that he didn't do well, because he did well and so did Q Rob. But Quay at that wolf position, whew, man. And LT at the bandit, like. Hey, Simpson, we'll talk about Kendrick Law for sure. Yeah, that 22-yard touchdown. Yeah, I mean, it was good to see him fed, to be honest, right? It's about, and they used him as well in a jet sweep, and we'll show the snap count of those wide receivers. It was good to see a lot of those guys get some reps. Like Emmanuel Henderson played in a lot of snaps. He got a pass. We'll do a freshman report as well when we talk about Caleb Odom. He played in a lot of snaps as well. Kobe Prentice had a really high grade as well. We didn't talk about him much, but he did it for Alabama on Saturday. Who was impressed with Q Rob? Can you type in Q if you were? Surely I'm not the only one that saw that. I mean, I've seen it everywhere. Heath is saying Russo is very quick and can move. Man, it was. Thanks, man. I 100% agree. And the thing about Quay Russo is he's big. He's a. I have to look up how much he weighs. Must be, what, 240? Yeah, see? Man. Yeah, everybody's hitting up Q. Happy Labor Day. I appreciate you guys. Yeah, if you're at the cookouts, if you're hanging out, I appreciate you guys for stopping in. Coming up at 11:30, you have Nick Sheridan and Kane Womack. They'll be here with the Alabama Crimson Tide. And then at 12 p.m., you'll have Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference. So on Monday going forward, I'm going to start my show at 10 to be able to go through. Now, you know I'm not afraid of work. It makes more sense. I feel the subscribers. I mean, 3-hour show is a long time. I know you guys are with me during the whole game, which I really appreciate. But I think it'll work out. So I'm always trying different things. I mean, I'm responsible for running the channel and stuff like that. So I appreciate you. Coming up here in a little while, I'll take your calls too. I appreciate you being here, Chris from New Jersey. And Kevin, what's up, man? How's your shoulder? See, I get to know you guys too. I know, like Kevin, you know, he's a battle warrior. And he's doing some rehab on his, I think it's his shoulder, man. So I hope you're doing well. Jarvis, what's up, man? I see you as well, man. All right, the last player we'll talk about on our game balls is Keon Sabb. You talk about transfers who come in and make an instant impact. How about him? He came in and you have 2 interceptions in the first quarter. The first one is dope. I even had to bust out the turnover chain. A real nobody. LT didn't get a game ball because Western Kentucky was running away from him every single play. The dude has serious nose for the ball before everyone else. And that's what even Chris from New Jersey said about Damani Jackson. And we'll look at the grades and how many times these guys were targeted. But, you know, if they're not getting talked about, it's probably because they're going in another direction. There was a lot of people during the watch-along that were just hyping up LT Overton and the continued play of him. Oh, it's good. It's good to see. That chain was funny. Yeah, I know. And I need to fix the audio because it was louder than, you know, the turnover graphic was louder than me. So I'm trying to fix all that stuff. All right, Kevin. Good luck, man. My shoulder's bothering me a little bit too, to be honest. All right. So that's game balls, and you can see the grades on each of those guys. Remember, the grades in the 80s are more like A's, and the grades that are in the 70s are more like B's. That's just the grading system for Pro Football Focus. Yo, Keon Sav looked nice. I thought he was going to take that second pick to the house. I couldn't, because the way the TV shows it, it doesn't show the full screen, right? I didn't know, like, well, I thought he was taking it to the house. I don't know. Caitlin's up in the house. What's up? So is Chance. So is Byron. Byron is saying Sab greater than Downs. Man, 2 picks, first game. Was he on pace if Alabama plays, 16 games? You have over 30 interceptions? All right, let's look at the freshman standouts. And I should have put their grades. I'll go up and have their grades listed so we can see that tomorrow. And I'll show the grades in just a minute. We're rolling through a couple different details following the game in week 1. Yeah, Texas and Michigan. That's going to be a great game in week 2. But other than that, there's not a lot of good games on the slate. Like I was kind of looking through it. I mean, that's where game day is going to be. I mean, Coach Saban's going up to Ann Arbor for that one. All right, here's the freshman report, and we'll look at the snap counts in just a second after this graphic, in fact. So when we go full screen, you look at Ryan Williams, who had 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. Red Morgan, just the overall play. I mean, you're not going to catch a pass on him. And if you do, look, he got the pass interference. I like that pass interference call, to be honest. Don't let them catch the ball, period. Jalen Mbakwe, how about him in coverage? See, a real nobody. I get it. Yeah, the ESPN, it seemed like the TVs were too tight. I couldn't see the whole field. Daniel Hill looked good with the opportunities that he had. Remember, he was a little bit banged up in fall camp. He ran the ball nice, 21 yards. Xavier Brown, he played, I think it was 34 snaps. We'll look at snap counts next. Fromm likes Cole Adams. Yo, he was returning punts. He's fast. Kevin Riley had 3 carries for 14 yards, and Caleb Odom 2 catches for 23 yards. There were some other freshmen that played, but just those are some guys that stood out to me. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Rocking the polo today. This is from, see, I don't really like to wear this shirt on the show because it has, I don't know what these are, like kind of checkers, and it kind of clashes with the camera. But if you want a shirt like this, you can go to the Soup Store, the University of Alabama, and that's where I got it. It's like a golfing shirt, basically. I like the old school A. I've been rocking this old logo a lot, so that's kind of the way I've been rocking it. Man, Cole's fast. All right, I'm going to get set up real quick for the Pro Football Focus grades. I'm going to take like a 1-minute commercial break, and I'll be right back here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. Will you roll Tide inside the comment box? All right, Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Monday, September 2nd. I'm going to take you all the way through to Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference, which will be at 12 p.m. Central Time, at 11:30 Central Time, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We'll also show Coach Nick Sheridan, who's the offensive coordinator, and Kane Womack. Those interviews will be right here on Bama Football on YouTube. It'll be interesting to hear what Coach Sheridan has to say about his offense, clearly, and about Womack and about his defense, who posted a shutout in his opener. But you know what was really interesting was before the game, the headset communication malfunction, right? So the way that Coach Kalen DeBoer explained this is that if a headset has a malfunction, the other team, Alabama, has to take their headsets off. That's why he was visibly pissed. My goodness, we haven't seen him pissed off ever. So they had to get Nick Sheridan from the booth. He sits in the booth. That's where most OCs sit. He had to come down elevator. I mean, if you've been to the stadium, it's huge. Takes time. And then after that, you have to call your plays from the sideline. That was really interesting. And I was thinking about it. How many teams are going to have headset malfunctions with like 2 minutes to go? I'm curious to see what college football does in terms of an official figuring out the headset, right? I'm not sure what will happen, but I thought that was interesting. All right, let's look at we'll go full screen on this. All right. So these are the Pro Football Focus grades, and we will do it by defense. So let me kind of walk you through how this works. All right. So let's just start. If you're new to Pro Football Focus, you can sign up for Pro Football Focus. Anybody can sign up. You pay a subscription. And this is, you get analytics to all teams. If you love analytics, go check it out. And it's not that expensive either for the year. So Pro Football Focus is a group of coaches that coached in the NFL, coached in college. They grade the team. They put it to Pro Football Focus, and then we get to check it out. It's analytics. They also have snap counts, which is really cool to see. So let me walk you through the first player just in case this is your first time seeing it. Let's just start with Quay Russo up top. So it has Quay Russo. It has his number, which is 4. Then it has his position, which is edge. In Alabama's system, they call it wolf. Games played, 1. The total is the snap counts. So that's how many snap counts he played in this game. Now, he played in 9 plays against the run and 12 plays against pass rush and 9 plays against coverage, right? That equals 30. Now, where it says DEF, that's his overall defensive grade, which was the highest on the team. I found that when you look to more total of plays, the grade comes out better, right? So like you look at Deontay Lawson, who played 49 plays. It's impressive that he has a grade of 84.5. And as I've mentioned before, anyone who's in the 80, that's more like an A in school. A 70 is like a B. If you scroll over, they have a couple more analytic options like RD, that's run defense, tackling, pass rush grade, coverage. I mean, you can get lost in the grades. For the sake of it and to keep it pretty easy, let's just talk about the defensive grade, and I might point out some different things that I've seen. Or you can ask me questions inside the comment box, whatever. So let's start up top with Quay Russo. He played in 30 snaps, and he had a grade of 86.5. Jaha Campbell, who I gave a game ball to, played in 46 snaps and had a grade of 85.8. If you go a little bit further to the right on Jaha Campbell, you see that he had a tackle grade of 84.2. Deontay Lawson had 49 snaps and 84.5. Now, Jaha Campbell and Deontay Lawson, they combined for a total of 18 tackles in this game. That's very noteworthy. Keon Sabb had a grade of 83.9. His tackling grade was 26.5. Now, I don't know how many tackles, like he was in on. That's clearly a low grade. But if we scroll over, I would imagine that his coverage grade is really high. See, 85.3 on Keon Sabb, clearly, right, with 2 interceptions. Bray Hubbard got some playing time. Now we'll start to look at the snap counts. This is where it gets really interesting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now organize it by total, which will be snap counts, and we'll do the same thing on defense. So now I've organized it by which players played the most snaps. So Malachi Moore played in the most snaps on the defense. He had 57 snaps, and his grade was 68.5. The more snaps you play, the more you're going to be able to be graded, right? You play, let's say, 2 plays, and you score a touchdown on one of them, you're going to have a higher grade. It's just how it works. Now, he did have a tackle grade. We're talking about Malachi Moore, 77.4. We've talked about Lawson. We've talked about Campbell, Keon Sabb. A lot of these guys are fresh. Think about a freshman like Xavier Brown. Started 35 snaps, and his defensive grade was 73.9. If we scroll a little bit more, we see his coverage grade was 73.8, which is really good for an opener for a freshman, right? Okay. Justin Jefferson played in 35 snaps. Tim Keenan played in 31. Red Morgan, who's a freshman, played in 30. Quay Russo played in 30, had the highest grade on the team on the defensive side. LT Overton played in 30 snaps, and his grade was 73.3. Do you guys like the snaps? Let me know inside the comment box. It won't be like an everyday thing, but it'll be something that we do chew on for like 15 minutes on the show, probably on Mondays. Just so I love the snap counts. Jalen Mbakwe, another freshman that played in 26 snaps. James Smith played in 26. Jameer Lathan, 26. Tim Smith, 25. Jaheim Otis, 23. Q Rob played in 22. Keanu Coate played in 13. King Mack. You see how many guys got in the game, and I get it. They were up by a lot, but they played a lot of plays. We'll continue to scroll down. Caden Jones, freshman, played in 12. Deshaun Jones, a transfer, played in 12. Working our way down, there's Jahil Hurley. I know a lot of you have asked about him. Justin Okoronkwo, there he is, played in 5 snaps. Drake Kirkpatrick played in 3 snaps. Yanzi Pierre played in just 3. Keon Keeley, it says he played in 3 snaps. So there you go. How often does this change? This changes every single week. And so you'll have an overall look for the season, and then you have game by game. So we're clearly just looking at Western Kentucky. But you'll have like a total snap count. So there'll be a page that, and as the season matures, right? Like, for example, the overall, like Malachi Moore last year, I think played in like over, I don't know, close to 600 snaps or something like that. So you'll get a wide range. And the guys who can maintain a higher grade, who played over like 500 snaps, is really impressive. So on Pro Football Focus, you can also zoom out, and you can go over here, and you can look to by offense. And we will zoom in. Get this. And again, I do all this like on the fly, so I try to make it the best user experience watching, so I appreciate you guys. Chris from New Jersey, if you missed it at the beginning of the show, 24/7 Sports is reporting that Kadyn Proctor will be week to week and that it's not a serious injury. That's all I know, and I'm sure that'll be the first question that is asked to Coach Kalen DeBoer. Following this, I'll take your calls going up to Nick Sheridan at 11:30. So I'll put the call-in line up in just a minute. But let's go through these offensive grades. Ryan Williams played in just 19 snaps, has a grade of 87.0. Just incredible. Only 19 snaps. Highest grade on the team. Highest grade on the team. Justice Haynes, limited. Look, he only played 10 snaps. Had over 100 yards. Light work, 83.3. Kobe Prentice, 20 snaps. 82.2. Kendrick Law, only 11 snaps. 81.0. That's why the players say that the practices are harder than games. These guys only played 10 snaps. Are you kidding me? Jalen Milroe played in 34 snaps, and he has a grade of 80.0 and a passing grade of 90.5. Now let's sort it. This is interesting, okay? You can sort it by position and by total. What I want to do is sort it by position just to show you the amount of players that played in this game, okay? So, for example, let's go by position and look at wide receiver. Ryan Williams, 19 snaps. Rico Scott, 13 snaps. Caleb Odom, 29 snaps. Jaron Hamilton, just 2. MJ, I don't even know who MJ is, played in 6. And that could have been on special teams, for example, right? You also have Kobe Prentice, who played in 20 at receiver. Jay Loper played in 7. Again, probably special teams guy. Emmanuel Henderson played in 22. Jeremy Bernard played in 35, the most out of any of the wide receivers. And then Kendrick Lodge just 11. Cole Adams, 19, including special teams, right? But here's what I found really, really interesting is the offensive line. So let's look at tackle, and then we'll look at guard. And we'll look at all of them. But just look at the tackle perspective. Nyquil Bentre, 30 snaps. Miles McGrady, 30 snaps. Wilcom Formby, 34 snaps. Elijah Pritchett, 34 snaps. You see the quarterbacks right here as well. 13 snaps for Lonergan, 20 for Ty. Ty had a grade of 73.4. Milroe had a grade of 80 and 34 snaps. You look at the running backs as well. 11 snaps, 15 for Daniel Hill. 11 for Richard Young. But look at this. Look at the guard. Let's look at the guard snaps right here, right? 28 for Rock Montgomery. 26 for Olas Alanen. 33 for Booker. 31 for Roberts. Did anyone see that picture of Roberts floating around? And Parker Brels for 33 at center. And then Joseph Ionita had 30 at center as well. You know who I don't? Oh, Geno Vandermark only had 4, which is surprising. But I guess considering the guards played a good amount, that's kind of where we're at. You like the data? It's cool, right? It's good to see it. I like the snap counts. Now, let me ask you this. Did it seem like more players played in the first game compared to under Coach Saban? To me, it did. It seemed like we had a lot of players in the rotation. I mean, maybe this is just how Coach Kalen DeBoer does it. I don't know. I liked it. I think in this particular season, you're going to need all the players that you can to have experience. I don't know. I mean, it's a different type of season, but I just found that was interesting. All right, I'm going to take your calls in just a minute. I'm going to open up the phone lines probably at 11. Right? It seemed like there was way more players that were playing. All right, what we're looking at now, and I'll zoom in, and I know you could barely see probably. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. This is Jalen Milroe, and you can dive into the analytics a little bit more. So let's start again. All the way to the left, 20 yards downfield. He has a passing grade of 92.9, right? 2 touchdowns, 139 yards. Connected with Ryan Williams twice. Medium, he has a grade of 74.3. He was 1 of 1. And then short, 0 to 9, 3 of 4. And then behind the line of scrimmage, 1 of 2. Now you can go further inside the graphics and see deep left, deep center, deep right. I mean, the analytics are really, really incredible. This is my favorite graphic to go over, though. Is it shows you kind of a snapshot. Hey, a real nobody. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate you guys super chatting. It helps. Clearly, there's business costs and running this, and this is how I make a living. So super chats and you guys becoming fan funders, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. To the outside left, he didn't throw a pass. Between the numbers, he was 1 of 1 for 55 yards. That was that drag to Ryan Williams. Out to the outside right, 1 of 1. And then you can see under 10 yards, those are those intermediate passes, right? 1 of 1 to 22. And that was a touchdown right here to the lower left. 1 of 2 for 8 yards. And then under 10 right here. Yeah, we got mailbag too. I know there was a lot to get to today. I appreciate you guys calling in. I probably run through mailbag and take calls, so, I mean, we have time. We got till 11:30, so no sweat. Appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube, cruising through the top 25 scoreboard, game walls, PFF grades, freshman report, the mailbag. We can probably dive into the mailbag real quick. Just kind of hit on a couple of these topics, and then I'll take some calls on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. A lot goes into the graphics and the kind of the behind the scenes, and I appreciate you guys. At 11:30, you got Nick Sheridan and Kane Womack, and then at 12 p.m. you got Coach Kalen DeBoer. You can watch that right here on Bama Football on YouTube, and I appreciate you guys for rocking with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Coming from the mailbag, which I appreciate, I dropped this in the community tab. Will Proctor be ready for South Florida, or will he return against the Badgers? This is coming from Sweet Home and Hattie. Look, the update from 24/7 Sports right now is that it's a week-to-week injury. If you're like new, if you're just watching the show, you're like, what? Kadyn Proctor didn't play. He got injured in the warm-ups. Strange things happen. It looks like it's a week-to-week. It's an upper body injury. We'll know more from Coach Kalen DeBoer maybe at 12 p.m. I have no idea. It was very strange. Not a lot of players get hurt in warm-ups, but, things happen, whatever. All right, this is coming in as well. Why did Brailsford snap the ball over Milroe's head? Was it a fluke thing, or do you see this being a problem all season? This came from Roll Tide Probs and DeChamp. I think it was probably it could have been first game jitters. It could have been a snap. He snapped it, didn't. There could have been some miscommunication. I thought overall that Parker Brailsford did a really good job. Let me ask you inside the comment box. I mean, what did you think about the snapping from the center? I know it's like such a mundane thing to talk about, but here at Alabama, we take that serious considering what happened last year. I think it was kind of just a fluke thing. I'm not worried about it. I think Parker Brailsford, he's quality. And we'll get to see more of him as we go forward, clearly. But I don't think it was too big of an issue. All right, Chris Millman became a level 1 fan funder. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Nice avatar. Looks like you got a new baby, too. Congratulations to you. Also from the mailbag, how good will we be on defense? We look good on Saturday, but that was just Western Kentucky. That's coming from Peyton. Thank you so much, Peyton. I think when you look to the defense, I don't necessarily look at Western Kentucky. I look at the team speed. I look at where they in position to make plays. Yeah, Keon Sabb clearly was. Who are some guys that really jumped out? Quay Russo, right? The inside linebackers were it. How about the play of Tim Keenan and Jaheim Otis and James Smith and LT Overton? Oh, man. I was really blown away. Clearly, LT did his thing, but did you see Jaheim Otis move around and Tim Keenan? Each of those guys have gone through significant body changes. They looked fast. Jaheim Otis, I'm serious. When you do your rewatch, he was really, really fast. All right, we continue on the mailbag. How good is the offensive line actually? I don't know. I think, you saw the amount of guys that have played in the offensive line? I don't know. This is a damn good question. I don't think we can understand this. I mean, Proctor didn't play a bunch of rotation, still at the right tackle position. Wilcom Formby had the highest grade. Chris is saying reports on the news said it was just miscommunication between Brailsford and Milroe. Yeah, I'm not worried about that one. I don't know how good the offensive line is. Alabama has the guys, but it's just too early to tell. 1,000,000%. All right, I'll go full screen on this one. This one looks a little it's my bad. Did we see an improvement in Milroe's short game? He didn't throw a lot of passes. We know he can throw it deep, but only completing 7 is concerning. I was glad to see him being more decisive, but wanting to see him move the chains more. That's coming from Zeus Deuce. I think Jalen Milroe has clearly improved. And I think we saw that improvement in the springtime. I think the limited reps of him throwing, it's not that big of a deal. That doesn't concern me. I mean, they couldn't sustain drives because this team is so explosive. I know, elite program problems. What are you going to, you can't tell Jalen, you can't tell Justice Haynes to stop and go out of bounds. You can't tell Ryan Williams to catch it and run out of bounds. Elite players are going to be elite. we're going to see more of Jalen Milroe in bigger games when they are tested, and they will be tested. I think that, he's in really good position. The report on Kadyn Proctor, maybe I should put like a banner on the bottom. That would probably help. What's up, Jay Bama? Is that Kadyn Proctor, it's week to week, and that's first being reported by 24/7. Alex Scarborough does a really good job. You'd probably follow him on your X account or whatever. He was injured in the pregame, but that's kind of the update. Appreciate the question as well. All right. We'll cruise through the mailbag. A couple more questions. Is there any reason Sab didn't play much? No. Sab played. I mean, he played over 30 snaps. So maybe you just didn't see him. He's number 3 on the defense. So a real nobody. Hey, and I see, the super chats as well. But yeah, Keon Sab played plenty. I think over 30 snaps, and he had those 2 interceptions as well. And that's the thing, Jarvis, as well. When you look to the defense, to be able to have a shutout, regardless of who you're playing in this day and age of football, I mean, TJ Finley threw for 3,400 yards last year. Now, I started to notice early in the week he was going to struggle against Alabama, but still, I mean, having a goose egg in week 1 is amazing. This is one of the biggest questions. Where is Keon Keeley? So he played in 3 snaps, as we just saw from the Pro Football Focus grades. I don't know. I think it's just probably right now depth, and he's just, where he is on the depth chart. Clearly, it's not a talent thing. And you look at the bandit position guys that played. I mean, Jamarian Latham, LT Overton, he had a really good game. So I think it's just kind of a matter of, we're going. I mean, same thing with Yanze Pierre. He didn't play much either. I think he had 4 plays. So you combine Yanze Pierre, a player of his talent, and Keon Keeley. I mean, these guys are just redshirt freshmen. I think it just might be more of just wait for these guys to get on the field rather than like rush them. So I know it's on my mind too. I was looking for him. He was one of the players that I couldn't wait to see. And I think we'll just have to be a little bit more patient on Keon Keeley, who has now moved from that wolf position, outside linebacker, to bandit, where he's down in the front. Did it seem like the O line, a few series, to get used to the zone blocking? Once they did, they seemed to click. What's up, 4-3-22, Dave? The offensive line, it was interesting to see them in different combinations on the offense. I thought they did a really good job in pass pro. There was several times where Jalen Milroe or even Ty Simpson stepped up and had plenty of time to throw. You saw how many offensive linemen played. In zone blocking schemes, I thought they did a really good job as well. I mean, they opened up some really good holes for the running backs. The thing I don't know about is how good they are going to be, because there was just so many guys that played. And just like Jay Bama said, they're platooning a lot. Yeah, and Tuna, we talked about Quay earlier. He got a game ball for us. He actually had the highest grade on the defense in only 30 snaps. He completely balled out. Man, he's so good. He's so talented. All right, we'll run through a few more. What did you see from the defense that could potentially be a problem? I don't know. I mean, look, I get it. It's Western Kentucky. But I don't know. The defense looked good. They looked, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure, if you talk to Coach Kane Womack, there's probably something that he could point out. I mean, if you go to the offensive side, I guess you could see, the penalties where they have like 7 penalties or something like that. I don't know. The defense looked good. They got to the quarterback. They tackled well. They made plays. They created turnovers. They didn't get beat deep. I mean, they kind of played flawless on defense. I'm sure there's a couple of things that the defense needs to work on. I don't know. And not to say that they're not going to be tested, against, Georgia. They have a very good quarterback. Carson Beck is balled out. I don't know. they looked great. All right. So I'm going to open up the call-in line for you guys to call in. And then what we'll do is at 11:30, we will take your calls I'm sorry. At 11:30, we'll have Coach Nick Sheridan and Kane Womack right here on Bama Football on YouTube, and then we'll go into Coach Kalen DeBoer. So the call-in line is open. We got an 832. It looks like we got free Mike calling in, so we'll take that right now. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. We got free Mike up in the house, man. What did you think about this Alabama team that had a dominating debut under DeBoer?
Kyle, what I saw was the dynasty continues.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I saw. I mean, that was such a fast-paced, overwhelming football team we have that I know it was Western Kentucky we played, but we could have beat anybody yesterday, and that includes Georgia or Saturday. That could include Georgia, but definitely the dynasty continues, Kyle, and it's a really fast-paced offense. I love it, man.
What do you think? Are you in agreement that we had a fast defense? It seemed like, I don't know, they seemed much faster on the defense side of the ball. I commented earlier that I think it was Cole Kublick or someone out there had kind of spot shadowed Jahad Campbell running to the sideline. Did you notice the team speed on defense?
Yes, I did, Kyle. That's one of the first things that stood out. And the first thing that came to my mind is, well, we got an awesome defense. I can see that. It was definitely a swarm defense. The defense was all over the field. And with the talent, the talent that's already there, just the great players, we got an excellent defense. I think Western Kentucky scored 0 points, and 150 total yards, Kyle.
Yeah.
And Western Kentucky had the ball most of the time. And because Bama's offense was on and off the field, Western Kentucky sat on the ball. They still couldn't do nothing. Definitely we got a superior defense. Swarm, absolutely. I was very impressed with the defense, absolutely.
Was there Jalen Milroe in light work, he did what he had to do. What were your thoughts on Jalen Milroe and anything else on Ty Simpson, the backup quarterback as well?
Ty Simpson's a good, capable backup quarterback. I hope he gets his time to play. But Jalen Milroe killed it, man. He killed it. Well, he did 9 passes, completed 7 of them for 200 yards. Yeah. And on top of all the running game that he did, and also just, early on there was some confusion with the headsets, whether they really went down or Western Kentucky just refused to use theirs and made Alabama take that off. Well, I don't know, but there was confusion early on. Bama regrouped. Yep. They put points on the board right away. But Jalen Milroe had a great game, and he killed it. But I do think it's a new day for Jalen Milroe just because of the new coaching staff that we have. But yeah, he had a great game. Very impressed with Jalen Milroe. But also to follow up on something you said earlier, Kyle, in my opinion, the game ball goes to Ryan Williams. It's got to go to Ryan Williams. How much better does it get? You got 2 targets, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, 120 yards. We've all heard all about Ryan Williams, but now that I see him in action, he absolutely is our new superstar, no doubt about it. But a good thing about him is this: when you have a player like that on your wide receiver core, that player that good, it opens up the whole offense. It opens up opportunities for all the other wide receivers and stuff. And you got somebody that good, but there can be a lot of game balls to go around. But game ball number one's got to go to Ryan Williams. First game, first 2 catches or touchdowns. It gets no better than that. So, but in my opinion, Kyle, the whole offense can get a game ball, including our coach for kind of getting it going after that initial confusion. So, but definitely the dynasty continues on the whole team, man. But impressed with Milroe. Milroe gets a game ball too, dude. He killed it. So I'm definitely. And Justice Haynes. Like Kyle, I've been saying all year, Justin Haynes for Heisman, and it's possible. It's from this point, he already had 10, like you mentioned, 10 carries, 100 yards, 10 yards a carry. Them are Heisman numbers. So we'll see how that plays out.
Thanks for calling, man. I appreciate you leading off the show. That's Mike from Austin, man. Thanks for calling in. We will go roll tide to you, man. All right, we'll go to 850 calling in right now. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, roll tide. Cody from Florida.
Cody, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here, man. Your takeaways as we play Monday morning quarterback on Alabama, now 1-0 on the season, turning the page to South Florida. Welcome to the show, man. Take it away.
I am I am really happy with the defense. They had showed out and balled out. Milo did a good job. Ryan Williams, oh my God, nobody can catch him. Even he went past that cornerback like it was nothing. I'm like, oh my gosh, Ryan Williams is going to be a big star. I can really see him fit the NFL draft in multiple organizations. But like Jalen Miller did good. Justice Haynes can run the ball. Jan Miller can run the ball. What I was saying was Keon Sabb. He's going to get a lot of interceptions this year if Tim Keenan and Rusall and everyone else puts pressure on like Carson Beck and everybody else. Because I still think right now, because of LSU who lost that game, that there's a lot of weakness with LSU right now. And so that's an easy exploit for Alabama to beat LSU for this year.
The quick strikeability of this team was really, really impressive to me. I felt, even after the game, Coach Kalen DeBoer was asked, would he like to see more sustaining drives? I couldn't believe how fast they were scoring touchdowns. And I get it. It's Western Kentucky.
Yeah,
but when you look to the overall,
right?
I mean, I think their longest scoring drive was 4 minutes and 10 seconds. I think long term, when you look to the teams that could potentially, play with Alabama, go head to head, they have to be able to outscore them. But what they're able to display, the quick strike ability was really, really impressive. What did you think about those drives and the explosiveness from Alabama's offense?
They just tore the house down.
Yeah.
You could see how the fans are really just up on their feet, blowing the house down. Like, we put on a show. It's like prime time, buddy.
Yep.
That is a prime time game. It wasn't the Georgia Clemson game. It was Alabama just saying, we're here, the dynasty's back, let's play ball. Because this isn't Alabama. We're trying to prove all these Alabama haters wrong. This is Alabama. This is the dynasty, and it's back on. It's game on, and it's put up a shut-up time.
That's right.
For most of you.
Hey, Cody, before I get to my next caller, can you mention a player on defense that stood out to you?
Keon Sabb.
Mm-hmm.
I think Keon Sabb is, because both if you have two cornerbacks on the lockdown, you're going to get interceptions because mostly of Jaheim Otis and and Keenan and everyone. If they put pressure on the quarterback, it's easy interceptions for Malachi Moore and Keon Sabb.
Hey, thanks for calling in.
I was watching your stream.
Go ahead, Cody.
I was watching your stream and literally watching the game at the same time, and I love just stream. So roll tide.
All right, roll tide too, man. I appreciate the support, and we'll catch up with you next time, Cody.
All right.
All right, that's my good buddy Cody calling in. By the way, just in, Keon Sabb named SEC Defensive Player of the Week, and surprise, surprise, the SEC Freshman of the Week is Ryan Williams. So how about that? Big kudos to those guys for playing at an exceptional level. That just in, and we're still waiting. At 11:30, you'll get Nick Sheridan, followed by Kane Womack, and then Coach Kalen DeBoer at 12. Still looking for a status update on Kadyn Proctor, who was injured before the game. CBS 24/7 is reporting it's week to week at this point in time. 786, let's do it. Hey, what's going on? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's going on, Kyle? It's Chad from Miami.
Chad, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Thank you very much for joining us on this beautiful Monday, man. Come with it, Chad.
My first point is that I love the other play. A lot of the players got to play. I know Saban like to keep freshmen and sophomores on the bench, so a lot of guys got to play in the game on Saturday, and they got to experience and with that keeps a lot of players from transferring. I know a lot of players left Bama last season and went to Texas, FSU, so on and so forth or whatever. So I love that the guys are gaining experience, and on top of that, especially when it comes to injuries coming up in the season or whatever, they have in-game experience. And we need the young guys to also play to reinvigorate Bama since Saban is gone, and since the team is young, so they need experience going down such a treacherous schedule with the playoffs and the longer schedule now. I thought that offense did great, man. There were a few mishaps, like the sack and the penalties, but I believe the team just got to be a little more discipline, and then on top of that, pretty much they're just working out of kinks, man. It's the first game of the season. I understand a lot of people are excited, but I believe it's a journey. This is just the first step in the journey. There are a lot of standout players, Ryan Williams, so on and so forth. I believe they did really well. My only gripe, I believe, is like I said, the penalties, and then on defense, I believe that we got to develop a pass rush. I see that we ran a lot of 3 defensive linemen and 1 linebacker run, and I didn't really like that. I believe we should always keep 2 pass rushers on the field at the same time. Usually, you saw like Russo or you saw Q Rob out there; they were like the only pass rushers. It was kind of like last season. Basically, with Kevin Steele, he would run 3 D linemen and keep one edge rusher on the field. I believe we should always keep 2 edge rushers on the field at all times to pressure the quarterback. Besides that, I think we did really well. I think that's the only adjustment we need to make because I think we had 1 sack and we didn't really do much in terms of pressuring the quarterback. But besides that, I believe like the linebackers and secondary played very well. And our guys just pretty much need experience coming up on Georgia and the other teams you're going to be playing in the SEC and in the playoffs.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Chad. I'm running through calls this morning, so I'm going to get some people in, but I appreciate the feedback, and I'll answer you on the other line, man. Thanks for rolling in from Miami, man.
All right, thanks. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you. I like that point from Chad, talking about the pass rush, because I did notice that too. I felt at times you are running 3 defensive linemen and, the wolf position player, but I'm curious to see what they do in the future and how you get pass rush from your inside linebackers as well, because Kane Womack said that they did that during the scrimmage. I didn't see too much of that in this particular game. Maybe I missed it, but I appreciate the call in from Miami. The defense – and I'm glad Chad brought that up because someone asked me earlier, how good is the defense going to be? Damn, I would say, let me ask you, Undefeated, type Y for yes or type N for no. Did they play better in this game than you anticipated to? I think that's easy. I think it's yes. I was concerned about the corners. I didn't hear from Damani Jackson, Xavier Brown. You saw Red Morgan come in. Devontae Smith, Malachi Moore. I think they played a lot better than I anticipated them to, 100%. Usually it takes the defense a little bit of time. I don't know who played better, the offense or the defense. Seriously, I don't know. We go back to the phone lines, and thanks, Chad, for the call, man. Next time, when I have a little bit more time, we can go back and forth, man. But thanks for the call. I really appreciate the dialogue. 601, you're up next. Hey, welcome on in. You're on with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
It's Jay from Pensacola.
What's up, Jay? I appreciate you calling in. Thank you very much for saying you're from Pensacola. We're never going to take you from Texas. We can't have that. Jay, as we kind of dive into what we learned and play Monday Morning Quarterback, what were your biggest takeaways after watching the game?
Offense is very explosive, and defense is going to be. I said defense is going to build. Is going to get better. I am not saying defense is bad. Defense is going to get better. I'm glad they were able to serve a lot of people out in order for people to get recognition. I'm glad they did that. I would say the offense scored so fast. Me and wife were watching the game. I felt bad for the defense because the defense just got off the field after running 21 plays, and the offense went out there and scored within 2 plays. I'm like, the defense got to go right back on the field. That was funny. And I think Q Robinson on defense, I think he did pretty good as far as defense goes. And of course, Keon Sabb is amazing. I have one more opinion that I'm gonna let you go. You're running through calls. I feel like Ryan Williams could be the next Jalen Waddle or Jameson Williams as far as speed goes. Mm-hmm. As far as speed goes, I feel like he could be the next Jalen Waddle or Jameson Williams.
I appreciate you, Jay. Thanks for calling, man, and we'll catch up on my next show, man. Thanks so much for the support.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. That's Jay from Pensacola. He used to say, because he moved to Texas, And he said that Jay from Texas, but no. We have Mike from Austin. You know, there's enough Texas. I want to stay more in the Southeast. Chris from New Jersey, you're up next, man. Let me ask you a question, Undefeated. Who did Brian Williams? Who is he comparable to? And then what did you think about Kendrick Law? He had a couple of plays there where you're like, finally they're feeding him, right? You give it to him one time and he runs for 22 yards for a touchdown. Chris is saying, all right, Chris, let's go to the phone lines. We're in a few minutes. As soon as they happen, we'll cut and we'll go to Nick Sheridan. But we have some time. So if I don't get to you, that's because we're going to the press conference. But we'll take Chris from New Jersey. Chris, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. You're thinking Julio Jones?
Oh yeah. Kyle. First, let's say it's great that Mike got out. He must have gotten out because he is. See that call, clear-minded.
Yep.
On the offense, he's so everybody wish Mike well and his new endeavor, being out in the free America, which is great. And you know I wanted to mention to you, I was so pumped up on Saturday night, but you were saying you think Saban can relax and sit back and not like no way, Kyle.
Yeah.
Did you? Everybody go back and watch some of College Game Day. He refers to Alabama as us, we.
Mm-hmm.
They beat us. When he watched the game film like 3 or 4 times, took notes, and then sent down a packet to DeBoer, guaranteed. You think we're giving him $500,000 for nothing?
You know what I liked about College Game Day and how they've embraced this is even on the College Game Day bus, they've rewrapped it, right? And they have him in his crimson blazer. You know what? Like,
yes.
This is who he is. Like, he's still Alabama. I love it that they haven't tried to like take that away from him. And that just shows this is who he is. The Verbo commercial. I mean, I've played that a bunch of times.
So good. It's a rule. No fun. So, Kyle, and I just want to say, obviously, we all love Saban. We're so happy for DeBoer. But did you see? I mean, you could see the way Carrie and Arnold and Kool-Aid up in that box.
Oh, yeah.
They love Saban.
For
they
sure.
don't like Saban. They don't like Saban's family. They love Saban. They love Miss Terry. They love their family. And that's why he won national championships, because the players loved him. Mm-hmm. And I got to tell you something. I'm not jumping the gun. Take it easy, Undefeated. But I think DeBoer is got that kind of quality. I mean, did you see the way in that one show, the way that that Sheridan talks about DeBoer?
Mm.
It's like that's like a love fest.
Mm-hmm.
He loves working for DeBoer. He thinks he's not only a great coach, but a family man. I mean, and that's what drives. That's what's going to drive this program into the future. And so, I'm excited. I'm all worked up. But Julio Jones. I want to let you know, on the day that he signed, I said that to you, Kyle. Ryan Julio Williams.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's something to see. I'm kind of thinking a comparison is like, for me, I mean, I really haven't even seen him run that many routes. I'm kind of thinking like a blend of Jerry Jeudy and Devontae Smith. That's who I'm thinking. But
like that too.
right?
Like that.
It's like if they,
Right.
So, but anyways, anything else, Chris?
One last thing, and I
ahead.
haven't done it in a long time. I
Okay.
haven't gone to negative town. But is Brian Kelly a puss, Kyle, or what? Him slamming his hand down? Oh, my God. I mean, the season's on, so we got to have to keep it real over here, Kyle.
So I was,
come on,
I
man.
uploaded that video. And I called T and I'm like, yo, I'm going to upload this video. And she's like, title it Brian Kelly throws temper tantrum. I'd be laughing. Look, I get it. It's a competitive spirit. You want to win the game. But I mean, you got to be able to win these openers if you want people to take you, if you really want your team to go to the next level. Now, look, I will say this. LSU, he's got a really good team this year. The quarterback did a really good job. USC is a great team, too. I enjoyed every minute of that game. It kind of looked like almost like preview of playoff football. But, pouting big time, slamming the table.
Well, USC, that's the first time they played defense in a decade.
100 million%. Yes, they play defense. They have a defense. I don't know. I mean, if they can continue to do that, they could make a run for the Big Ten 1,000,000%.
Oh yeah. Hey, Kai, real fast. The last thing is, have you seen that the Heisman house with Reggie Bush with like he's in the cryo and he's been like, because he's been on ice?
I saw the new
commercial.
I saw the new Dr. Pepper commercial, which I really liked. Because
the Quinn Ewers.
Yeah, the Quinn comes back, but the best part was, they're like talking about sign stealing and this and that. Where hey, callers, hang up. I'm gonna go to Nick Sheridan. You guys can call back another time. If I didn't get you in, I apologize.
Right.
But the funny thing was, roll tide team, man. I'll catch you with the other in just a second. All right, callers on the other side, call back next time, and we'll get you in 678. My bad. I'll get you on the next time, but we got Sheridan coming up next as soon as I can bring it in right here on Bama Football on YouTube. It's funny because they're like, Dr. Pepper's not even in the game. This is crap. Hey, I'm going to take a quick commercial break right now to get things set up. When I come back, you'll have Nick Sheridan, Kane Womack, Coach Kalen DeBoer. Be right back in 2 seconds. All right, fam, what's going on? Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. In just a second, you will have, I would imagine, Nick Sheridan. He came out first last time, followed by Kane Womack, and then Coach Kalen DeBoer. I'm going to boost the audio. I'm going to step away, so it might be a few minutes. Sometimes it takes longer than usual. But you have Alabama's OCDC coming up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys for being here. Please hit the thumbs up. Super chats, greatly appreciated. Think about becoming a fan for under $2.99. Thank you so much. And we go to the OCDC and head coach, and then after I'll come back on and close it out. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here.
All right. Morning, everybody. Good to go? Good to go. Just a wrap up of and recap of last week before we go on to this week. I thought our guys played really hard on Saturday. They've been prepping, they've been working. They did just a phenomenal job of kind of staying locked into the process through fall camp. I thought, in fall camp, there are days where, and the days can get long, you're competing against your offense day in and day out. And I thought our guys brought energy. They brought focus, a level of detail that was consistent throughout fall camp. And Coach DeBoer said it best to the team the other day, you get what you deserve. And I thought our players got what they deserve on Saturday in terms of their effort and focus, and those things were really good. Our keys to victory, we said we had to swarm tackle. We had to do a great job of these guys, they force you to make space tackles, and I think for the most part we did that. There was a drive where we had a couple missed tackles on some critical third downs, and we got to get those things cleaned up, particularly in some vision coverage where our guys did not have their eyes on the quarterback, and so their feet weren't in the ground to drive on the ball once the ball was thrown. So we'll get those things cleaned up. We had to handle some of the tempo and the formations and all the and goes, and there's a lot of different screens and goes and all that stuff, trick plays. I thought we handled those things well early. We showed that we could handle some of their tempo early and their formations out of tempo early. We really had to play a dominant style of defense up front in particular, and I thought our defensive line against the run, linebackers, safety support did a tremendous job throughout the game. We also were able to affect the quarterback in pass rush. We hit him early in the game, and I think that paid dividends as we started taking the ball away and getting off the field on third downs. And then also, as you got going, we didn't get, a number of sacks as the game went, but I thought we affected him. And I think we had maybe 4 pass breakups, right, coming from the D-line, guys getting their hands on the ball, tip balls in the area as well. I was really proud of our guys and their fight in the red zone. We went on a 22-play drive, which is never fun for a defense, but our guys did a really good job of staying focused during that time, and really, half the battle in the red zone is just finding the will to be able to fight when it matters most, and I thought our guys did that to be able to get a great fourth down stop down there. I thought, the 2 takeaways early were positive, but I did not think we capitalized on takeaways as a defense. I thought we had opportunities to score on defense multiple times, and we did not make the most of those opportunities. We also had opportunities in the backfield. Sacks are great, but sack caused fumbles are way better, right, to get the ball back for our offense right there on the spot. So those are things that the guys have really been challenged. I did not think we met the standard of what we're capable of as a defense there. And so I hope to see a response in our players just in terms of their intentionality to take the ball away. Punching, raking at the ball, all those types of things did not show up to the level that I think we're capable of. So we will make that a huge point of emphasis moving on this week. It's critical that our players manage their time well. This is the first actual week, right, of the season where you have a Sunday to a Saturday. There's a finite amount of hours, and there is a finite amount of work that has to be done, and the work is the work. And if you don't stay ahead, all right, you start falling behind on a Tuesday and Wednesday practice, and then that shows up on Saturday. So our guys got to do a tremendous job getting ready for that. Looking ahead to South Florida, I think this is a team that is very well coached. I think they have a great identity in what they do, particularly with their offense. Alex Golish, I've known for a number of years. I think he does a tremendous job. Those guys are very detailed in what they do in the run game. They have a lot of volume in the run game. They do a number of things in terms of finding space in their passing game. They create space with lateral alignments. You're going to see those big wide splits that we've seen over the last couple of years from this style of offense, and then find different windows in the passing game, be it through the drop back play action or through the RPOs. And so we've got our work cut out for us. I think this quarterback is dynamic with his feet. He showed that a year ago to us, that he can extend plays, particularly in passing downs with his feet. And so we've got to do a tremendous job of containing him this week. So it'll be a great challenge for our players, and one that we're all looking forward to preparing for. So with that, I'll take questions.
You made a ton of substitutions against Western Kentucky, not just on the DL, which is normal, but the linebackers, the DBs. Did you kind of go into the game with a mindset that you wanted to be able to put some grades on a high number of guys?
Yeah, I think there's different levels of substitution as the game went on, right? We felt like as we moved into the second half, the game was in hand, and so you certainly want to get some younger players involved in the game during that time. I think players that showed through fall camp that they could be trusted, that they were what we would call above the line to be able to go in during meaningful snaps in the game. There were players that we knew, younger guys, right, that may make mistakes, but they need to be able to work through those mistakes. And so I think as a staff, it's really important early that you push yourself to be able to get players in games. Because if you don't, right, they can't learn and grow from those experiences as the season goes on, and we're going to need those younger players to continue to elevate their game as the season goes on, and they can only do that if they get some reps. So certainly we're going to try to get people in the game, but we're never going to put a player in that has not shown that he is above the line. When you're taking meaningful snaps. So.
Stay on the right side. Let's go Charlie, second row. Yeah, hey, Coach. I want to ask about Quay Russaw. Just what did he show you to not only earn the start on Saturday, but play a bunch of snaps? Yeah.
I thought, Quay, so workmanlike in the way he goes about his business. He's not a real vocal guy on the team, but he's a great teammate. has really kind of leaned into what we're doing from a defensive standpoint with that wolf position. There's a lot of things that we ask that guy to do. He's got to play off the edge. He's got to play in the box as an inside stand-up kind of move around backer. He's got to drop out in coverage. So there's a lot of things that we're asking that guy to do, and I think Quay is a very well-rounded individual. He's gifted from a physical standpoint in terms of his ability to run. He can make space tackles. He can also set an edge at the point of attack, and so just his versatility, I think, coupled with the way that he was able to handle our scheme and all the things that we were going to try to do against Western Kentucky in particular, I thought he was very impressive in the first game.
Yeah, Xavier Brown getting the start. I mean, obviously you guys have spoken well of him all preseason, but what do you see from him in this one? What did he ultimately do to earn that opportunity?
Well, not just Xavier, right, but, a number of those other young players played meaningful snaps in the game, which was impressive. Xavier, I think Maurice Lindquist has done a tremendous job with those young defensive backs and getting those guys prepared. That's a hard transition to make in 8 months, to go from playing high school ball, right, to playing at this level in college. And so I think those guys were very consistent in their process. They were very detailed. When they made a mistake, they would work to get it fixed. Xavier probably from the start of spring ball all the way through fall camp, I thought was the most consistent in terms of fixing issues as they came, consistent in his fundamentals, his approach every single day. And I thought, really he was well deserving to be able to go out there as one of the first 11 to represent our defense. So very proud of the work that he's put into. The challenge to those younger players is they cannot stay the same. They have to continue to elevate their game, their level of focus. One of the great things about, it's a great thing, but it's also a challenging thing in terms of setting standards and expectations. Those standards continue to raise as the season goes on, and so those younger players will have to continue to elevate their game in order to compete at the level that we're going to need them to as we maneuver through the season.
James Smith seemed pretty disruptive in the middle. What did you see from him, and how much strides has he made heading into his second season?
Yeah, I think James has really taken some great leaps in terms of his consistency and what we're doing, playing within the framework of the scheme. I think coming out of spring football, there was too much inconsistency in his game. We really challenged him in the offseason to live within the framework of the defense. He always is going to make plays. He's a special playmaker. He's got that knack, which is what you want to see, right? Then you just have to build some consistency within those things. And I thought, the level of growth from him in that 3-month window from when we finished 8A to when we came into fall camp, I thought he took really great ownership with that. Freddie Roach did a tremendous job as well in that regard. So very pleased with him. Think he's taken steps in the right direction. And again, when you have a guy like that that's a playmaker, you want to get those type of players on the field.
Just 2 more questions. We'll start with Mike here.
I think the TV broadcast mentioned an injury to Deshaun Jones, and maybe that's why he didn't play as much. Is that true in terms of maybe his hamstring being banged up, I think, on that?
Yeah, Day was battling a little bit this week with a little ding, and so we wanted to be cautious with him, but we felt like there was enough there that he felt good enough on game day that he could go. He had not gotten as many practice reps during the week of preparation, and so we expect him to make a full recovery this week.
Finish up on the left with Steven. Coach, among those young players, how did you feel like Red Morgan performed when he got out there, especially in coverage and making tackles also?
Yeah, I thought, Red, again, is another example of those younger player that got out there, took meaningful snaps in the game, right, and really I thought communicated pretty well for the most part. I thought, from a fundamental standpoint, he was relatively consistent. Those things have to grow, right, as you maneuver throughout the season. But one of the things that is exciting about Red is just he did not play hesitant. He pulled the trigger when he needed to. He played fast. And when you have somebody like Red, he's very bouncy, he's very athletic, right? He's very active. He's got a high motor, and that's the type of player that we need to see as he continues to just build more consistency in his game. So I was pleased with what we saw from him first week. All right, thanks, guys. Roll Tide.
We'll begin with the opening statement, and we'll take questions from Coach. Thanks everybody for being here. Obviously excited, for another opportunity to compete, for our group to improve and get better. Going against another, program that I have familiarity with. I know Coach Golish. I know the toughness that he coaches with, and I know the detail that he emphasizes with his team. Have a lot of respect for Coach Orlando and the defensive coordinator. He's very accomplished. He's very well respected in our profession, and so I know it'll be another tremendous challenge for us. And like I said, I have familiarity with the program and the pride that they have, and the coaches on their staff, and the quality of coaches that they are. So be another great challenge for us, and looking for us to improve from week 1 to week 2. Fire away. Thanks, Coach. Let's go back right side, Jamie.
Hey, Coach, what have you seen from Ryan Williams to know a debut like that won't get to his head?
Well, I mean, he certainly has received a lot of attention, throughout his recruitment, and even prior to him actually playing a game here. And so the thing that I would say is he's been the same person, since the day we met him. He's always, he loves football, he loves to work, he's willing to be coached. And so, I think he's hungry to go continue to build off of what he did in the first game. And so I don't envision that being an issue. And he's a great kid and loves football and loves to be coached. And so, we're excited to try to help him get better. And I know Coach Shep's excited to coach him tomorrow. Stand right side of Matt.
I can kind of guess your answer if I ask for an injury status update on Kadyn Proctor. But what do you think of Elijah stepping into that spot?
I thought he did a nice job. I think, we have confidence in the guys in that room. And you have to be ready when you're called upon. And, Coach Cap does an awesome job, as, you have to, as you cross-train. You train guys at multiple spots, left, right, inside, outside, because you want to make sure that you get your best 5 guys out there, no matter what the circumstances are. And so it's not the first time Pritch has played left tackle. Obviously he's had a lot of reps at that previously. He hasn't had as much, lately. But I thought he did a nice job. He showed toughness. And for him, unexpectedly to have to go in there, I thought he did a nice job. Jump to the left side, the front row to Katie.
You just talked about improvising. Just what was it like for you on Saturday night when you've been preparing all season to be in the box and had to come down to the field at the last minute and just dealing with that situation?
That was a first, for all of us. I've called games before on the field. I don't think that was but normally when you're going to do that, you're preparing for it. You might mark up your call sheet a little bit different. But I think in those moments, you're just trying to provide calmness to the people around you, let the players know that it's just fine, and you just adjust, you adapt. You prepare so much for all the different, things that may come up in the game, but you also recognize there's going to be times where you have to adjust and adapt and be flexible. You don't necessarily think you're going to be going up and down in the box to the field, but it was just what was required at that time, and so you just do it, and we all have a job to do each and every day, and you try to do the very best you can in that role, just like we asked the players, and so that was really all there was to it. It was really more so, was it going to get fixed and so just stay put, or no, it's not, and come down? And so that was really more the conversation, is like, how long were the headsets going to be out, and could you just kind of wait it out up in the box until they fixed it? But obviously we thought that they'd be down maybe longer than they were, and so you just hit the elevator, went down a couple floors, and walked out of the stadium. I thought the fans were great. It was rocking. It was, so all good. Back on the right, Ryan.
Coach, I know you weren't part of the team last year, but a lot of the people were against USF. What did you see in that game? How much are you using that game? Or are you kind of saying this is a new team, obviously a new quarterback that's playing on your side?
Well, I think there's lessons learned, from everybody on, previous experiences. But it's certainly, that was early in the season last year. This is a new group of players. They have a new group, of players of their own. And so, similar coaches, obviously, for them, so I'm sure they'll be watching the film on things that they felt, versus certain people that maybe they had success with. And we're evaluating that. But there was a lot of film after that game as well for us to digest and try to, predict how we think that they're going to try to play us. And so I think you take it all into account. But you also know that every game is a new game. Every season's a new season. And so, what has happened in the past has no impact on what will happen Saturday. It'll be ultimately about the team that plays the best. And so that's what we're really focused on.
Go back over to the left side, Steven. Obviously, Coach would have loved to have seen more, but just the efficiency of Milroe in his first game. Can you talk about that there?
I thought he did a nice job. I think obviously he was very explosive, and, the thing that I enjoyed or I was proud of him was just the communication, between series, what he saw. I thought he saw the game very clearly. We talked about all week with the group, not just Jalen, but the whole team, is improve as the game goes on, and the communication that occurs between series to try to just get better, see how they're going to try to play you, be able to adjust, be able to adapt. And so I was really proud of that. I thought he was calm. He was poised. I thought he was competitive. I thought he showed toughness. It wasn't, a ton of snaps. Obviously, there was, some short scoring drives. And so, but I was proud of how he played. And I know he'll tell you there's still room for growth, which is exciting. And this is really the fun part for coaches, is that you go play a game and you see what you need to work on. You think certain areas where you think the guy's got it, and then it shows up in the game, and maybe it's not quite the habit that you want. And so we're excited to get back on the grass tomorrow.
Go to Mike here on the right side of the room.
You had two other quarterbacks get into the game too, with Ty and Dylan. Just what did you see from them? Obviously, Dylan didn't throw a pass, but just the operation.
I thought they were clean. I thought they communicated well. By and large, made the right decisions. There was a couple that we'd like to learn from, but that was the first experience for me with all the guys in our room as far as seeing them compete and being out on the grass, in a game environment. And I was proud of them. I thought they, like I said, they communicated well. They had poise. They led their groups. They moved the ball when they were in there, and ultimately that's their job as quarterbacks. They used their legs. I thought they played football, and it was good to see. I was happy that they both got a chance to get in the game.
Go to Charlie on the right.
Going back to Jalen, when you're watching film of him when you come in, how did you see him kind of progress over the course of the season after this game last year, this USF game?
I wasn't here for that, and so it's a little bit difficult for me to kind of give you a big picture, on what that looked like. I wasn't here. I wasn't a part of that journey for him. Certainly we've had conversations about lessons that he's learned along his journey, just like I've told him about things that I've grown, in when I was a player, as a coach, you name it. That's the type of relationship that you're always trying to build and create, so that you have that relationship built on trust, and you can communicate about things that you've been through, and how you got where you are. So it's hard for me to say specifically as far as how he improved or what that looks like. We're just focused on just trying to be better this week than we were last week, and that's really where all of our attention is right now.
We have time for a few more questions. We'll jump on the left side to Tony.
Back to the elevator improvisation. How long does it take you to get from the coaching box to the elevator? And obviously, you guys were able to learn that while they had the ball. Do you have a plan in place for if that was to happen? If you guys had the ball, if you're trying to get down there, is there somebody, does DeBoer step in and make the calls, or how does that work?
Yes. I wouldn't say we spend a ton of time on the headsets going down and me getting stuck in the elevator. It wasn't that long. Most people were in the seats, so there wasn't too many people on the elevator. But we'll be okay, I guess. We'll be prepared for it next time if that happens. I get stuck in the elevator.
Go Chase on the right side here.
I'm kind of piggybacking off an earlier question here about Jalen, but obviously it's pretty unusual for a starting quarterback to only throw 9 balls and you score 63 points. He was efficient for sure, but just from an evaluation standpoint, did you watch film and think, man, I wish I could sink my teeth into more than 9 throws here?
No, I mean, we're just trying to win. That's really all we're focused on. And I think there was lots to learn from, even in the plays that he had. And that's true. We're mindful of that with not just Jalen, but all the guys as you're trying to get snaps in a game environment. And so we were mindful of that. Obviously we just had some short scoring drives. And so not just him, but a lot of the guys didn't have as many snaps as maybe you would anticipate in a game. So, no, I mean, I thought he played great, and there's things to work on. There's reads, footworks that he can clean up. He sees that. He acknowledges that. He's excited about the opportunity to work and continue to grow and get better. I'm excited for the chance to coach him. So, no, we're not, disappointed in the fact that he only had 9 attempts. It's just kind of how the game played out.
Yeah, so when you were able to use the helmet comms, how was that experience, the first game action with that?
I thought by and large it was clean. I think there was some communication that we could do better collectively, certainly starting with me and then through the staff and through the players. I think that's pretty typical of most first games where, there was a moment here or there where maybe you didn't, quite communicate as efficiently as you'd like or move as quickly as you would like. But by and large, I thought the guys did a nice job. I think we had 1 false start, for an opener. We had a couple holding calls, but we had to burn a timeout early in the first half, which was, you'd like not to have to do that. And so there's reasons for those things. There's things that you address both as a staff and as the players on just trying to eliminate those things moving forward. But for the most part, for our first game, I thought it was relatively clean from a communication standpoint. Okay, thank you. Roll Tide.
Joined by head coach Kalen DeBoer. We'll have coach begin with his opening statement, and then we'll take questions.
All right. Good morning. Hope we all had a great weekend and working on this Monday, huh? But it was a good weekend for us, and felt good to finally get on the field. Talked a lot about it, and I think you guys were running out of questions to ask at some point here because it was the same ones and not much to go off of with all the new staff. But it was good to get out there on the field, and I thought really pleased with the way our guys just sustained the energy. I'm not talking about just during the game, but really all week long, and got more and more excited. And then just really from the beginning to the end, a lot of focus. We got a lot of guys on the football field, and really felt like they were all ready to go. And again, never going to be perfect, but and a lot of things we can work on. But I appreciate just where we're at right now, and it kind of tells us where we're at and what we need to be taking to the practice field here this week. But a lot of different things popped up. I think maybe even a question or two has been asked just about the communication and how that headset thing all went down at the beginning. That was something, you've had crackles and you've had times where it goes down for maybe 3 seconds, but just really having to change things up there, that was new. I think by play 2, we had our left tackle, left guard, and center all out of the game for play 2. So some interesting moments in there, but just guys really worked through it, just keeping their poise. That includes coaches, Coach Sheridan having to come down from the press box and then go back up and trying to figure out if you're going to get caught, caught in the middle of that. And we'll be fine that way. It's just there is a lot of communication that does happen, not just from him to the signalers, but others as well. Just getting personnel in the field. So we were fine. We were fine. It's just different than the normal protocol. So I think red zone, different parts of the game that we really excelled in was good to see. 4 for 4 offensively. Took a knee there at the end, and then defensively, not giving up any scores on 2 attempts when they got in the red zone. The 2 takeaways early with Keon were really big with the momentum. Really, got the crowd going in kind of about 10 or 15 minutes, whatever it was, where we take the field and everyone's ready to go, and then all of a sudden that delay in the action. So Keon's takeaways and a sack there early really got that momentum and energy back to our whole football team. So really pleased with where we're at week 1 and looking forward to making those big steps that I think usually exist going from week 1 to week 2.
All right, thank you, Coach. Start on the front here, right, Nick?
Yeah, 2 if I can. First, what did the prognosis show for Kadyn Proctor? And also, when you watch the film of the offensive line, what did you see in terms of things you really liked and things to improve on?
Sure. Kadyn's got a shoulder situation there. It's one that we will be able to manage, and so that's a positive. And it was just something as we go through the week that we'll just continue to evaluate, and it probably won't be something early on here we'll be rolling with, but as the week goes on, be something we can continue to evaluate and be hopeful for. When it comes to the offensive line and this, the way they executed, I give Elijah a lot of credit. Has maybe played just a couple practices early in camp at left tackle, and for the most part was at right tackle. And I think he and Book took some pride in really trying to have a great game there and kind of rise up in the midst of that adversity. There's the big touchdown to Justice where we pulled both the right side. Right guard, right tackle. That was fun to see because I thought there was some physicality on the front side, and then the pull doing a good job of adapting to what the defense was doing, and the trust that I think exists is probably something that's undervalued. The trust from the first puller to the second puller, and also the second puller to our tailback with Justice carrying the ball. So, that comes through repetition. That comes through talking about it. Protection-wise. They got to us early, with this 1 sack. But for the most part, I think our quarterbacks really felt comfortable back there. There was times where we picked up the protection, and I know Jalen had that explosive run there when we were deep in our own territory. That's a tribute to the offensive line and our tailback all doing their jobs. Jalen trusting it, and when the seas parted, kind of abort the pass attempt and go take off and use your legs, and that's what I love to see from him on that play.
Stay on the right, Charlie.
You've mentioned how you watched all of Jalen's games last year. Just how did you see him progress after the South Florida game over the course of the season last year?
How did he? Okay, I see. From last year's game at this point, yeah. I thought being decisive at the end of the season was something that I was really wanting to make sure he carried over, just playing ball, finding ways to move the chains. You get so caught up in this play, you're supposed to read it right to left, or you're supposed to read the safety, and there's so many things with checks. And then there's a point where you just got to go play ball. And I think that that's something that he just got more and more accustomed to, and I felt like that was what he did on Saturday. There wasn't a lot of opportunities. He didn't take that many snaps. He threw it less than 10 times, and so not a big sample size there. But when he did have those opportunities, I thought he took off. I love the touchdown pass to K-Law, where he stepped up, was decisive, had his eyes downfield. He can run with the football, but hit the eyes of the defense being on him, flipping it out there and making a really accurate pass. And again, those are things that are undervalued. K-Law being able to attack the ball and hit it on the run, kind of having a feel of where the defense was at. There's people at his legs, K-Law's legs. And so that's the difference between a 6, 7, 8, 10-yard gain and a touchdown. So just little subtleties like that, I think, were things I was impressed with Jalen. And, couple times here and there. You only had 2 incompletions, and so you're really getting down to what can we have done on those 2 incompletions. Communication, just always trying to make that better. I thought it was really good, but always trying to make it better. Communication to the line, all the way across the board. Coming on the sideline, I really enjoyed getting with him on the sideline. Thought he was really locked in. The iPads and all of that. I really thought he utilized that to his advantage along with the rest of our staff, both sides of the ball. Really kind of a game changer when you look at it, and getting that instant feedback, that instant information to confirm what you thought happened and be on the same page and be able to move forward. So, again, some good steps, obviously early in the season.
Katie on the left front row.
Kane talked about how important it was going to be for guys to have to manage their time this week, with this being the first kind of real game week, Sunday to Saturday. Just for most of the guys, it being different, having the Sunday practice, just kind of how did you see them respond to that yesterday, or kind of what was it like them starting their game weeks?
Yeah, I think, early would be this fall camp or even the summer when kind of I showed them the schedule of what a normal week would look like. They were kind of maybe wondering what Sunday was going to be all about, but I think they went through it and really, felt good about putting last week's game kind of to bed, it being over, and getting a little bit of work in, even kind of maybe just a couple things that they can identify when they're watching film now that we threw at them or showed them yesterday, just real late in the day. And so, I think they feel like they probably got a head start, and now today's a day where, they're off their feet and really kind of getting their bodies back to where tomorrow morning you turn around, you got a lot of good energy. And so I think they see the way the schedule comes together now to benefit them. And doesn't mean that you can't do it other ways, but that's just how we make it all work together.
Stay on the left here, Ryan. Go ahead.
Coach, evaluate Wilkin Formby getting his first start right tackle.
Yeah, I thought Wilkin, I saw some energy and some excitement out of him. We had some big plays there, and love that. He's, I thought from a game standpoint, very pleased with the steps I feel like he's taken since not just even spring ball, but even through fall camp. It's always about progress, right? It's always about improving, and he is certainly doing that. He's raising his level of physicality, he's raising his level of communication and talking and being on the same page with Jaden next to him. And so, I thought there was physicality. I think there was some, I used the word decisiveness with the quarterback. I felt like he was very decisive and really never looking uncomfortable on, okay, I'm supposed to block this guy, or, assignment wise. Coach Cap, I think, had all those guys really locked in, and Wilkin would have been a part of that. So good place to start the season with his effort and execution here after week 1.
Back over the right side, Matt.
Have you seen any extra level of energy from some of the guys who were back from last season for this game after what was almost a disaster last year?
You talking about disaster last year? You talking about the USF game, or? We haven't. I think there's a piece they probably remember, but I didn't experience that with them, and so it's not like I'm really drawing on that. Reminding them that it was a closer game, and that falls in line with what one of our pieces of our program is, to respect all and fear none. And so that respect factor was there this last week. It's going to be there again this week, and I'm sure that there are certain guys that went through that, as you're suggesting, that have a different type of determination on top of what we're trying to do with this 2024 team. But I think we're really trying to make it about this season, this team, and trying to take the next steps that are necessary here going into week 2.
Left side, Tony.
We don't see very many jersey alterations around here. What was the decision to put the C's on the captain's jerseys, and did you get any pushback from maybe some of the real traditional boosters or fans or anything from that?
I haven't, because they probably hadn't seen it and known about it till the game, right? So, but that still hasn't happened since. I think the tradition before, right, was more of the captains at the end of the year. So there was something that you weren't going to do during the season. Just kind of something that I've done wherever I've been. We have a unity group, a leadership group. Met with them real briefly here this morning, and just kind of going over the whole week, the weekend, anything that they just wanted to add, where they felt we were at with our mindset in particular. But then you have your captains, and I know I mentioned before that I thought the team did a great job, and I think it's an honor to be a captain. And along with that, I've always liked to have understood through the C on the jersey, which I think is really cool for those guys to be able to wear.
Stand on the left side with Steven.
Coach, to get 3 running backs into the end zone, like what confidence does that do for the offensive line and also that whole running back room?
Yeah, and a couple of them were explosive plays, so I think it's confidence all around. It's confidence that the offensive line will make those seams for you, and the jams play, just a lot of chaos happening out there with our guys hitting blocks and moving people, and jam hitting that seam, and just both goes both ways. If we get our job done offensive line wise, the tailback's going to do his. If I read it right as a tailback, the offensive line's going to fit the blocks up right. So that's running for 300 plus yards. That's something that I don't take lightly. And it's tailbacks, it's Jalen, both quarterbacks actually, did a nice job when their time came to go make plays. And so there's a lot of threats. People, I think, have talked a lot about our threats on the outside and how that's going to look, and that will continue to evolve as we get more opportunities to throw the ball. But it all, the game was meant to be played one way. You wear pads for a reason. It's because it's a physical game, and so running the football is really important.
We got 2 in the back room on the right. Let's start with Jamie, and then we'll go to Ryan.
Hey, Coach, did Saban reach out to you after the game? And if so, what did he say? And also, I know the priority is on the game itself, but how much are you looking forward to this Saban Field dedication?
Yeah, it's we talked actually before the game. He gave me a call on Thursday, and that was really cool for the guys. And he wanted me to pass along that he's thinking about him and wishing him the best, and going to be rooting for him, and you can just tell how much he cares about not just the program but the individuals within it. So wanted to make sure I passed that along, because I think that was important for them to hear, important from both ends. And so and it's going to be an awesome night, having the field named in honor of Coach, and that's really something special. It's one of those things where you're going to play in it and what's happening, but being a part of the ceremony is something the team really can't do. We're in the middle of probably pregame meal and some of those type of prep work, but just to have that, the whole honor for Coach Saban, everything he's done here. I know how much that will mean to him, and it's something that I know we have a lot of respect for, and going to make sure that we continue to do everything we can to make it our house and protect our field here on out, just like it's been in the 17 years that he was here.
Ryan, go ahead.
She took my question. Coach, the long ball with Ryan Williams, 2 catches, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, you want to see that. Do you ever worry about a home run ball? And when stuff gets hard, in the past, maybe stuff gets hard and you can't make those short passes because you rely on the home run ball. What's your thought on that as the season progresses?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just part of the progression. The progression took Jalen to Ryan. That's not the beginning of the progression on the first touchdown, and in particular, well, both of them. It was a later part of the progression, and that says a lot about a lot of things. It says that the line did a good job protecting and giving him time with our tailback, and then in both of those routes, concepts, Jalen really working through the read and working to the very end. It might not have been the very last on one of them, but it, again, says a lot, just thinking about Jalen and getting to Ryan, especially on the second touchdown. That's coming across the middle, putting it where it needed to be. Confidence, as a receiver when you're running across the middle like that your quarterback's, not going to put you in a bad spot, so Ryan can just focus on the football, and then breaking tackles too, two guys right there. So I don't feel like we rely on the long ball. I don't feel like that's what our offense is about. I feel like it's a progression, but there are usually big play opportunities that are built within almost, really most of the concepts that we have, and situational stuff too. You're trying to move the sticks and you only need a few yards. Maybe there's not as many balls that are going to go down the field. That's just situational awareness for our quarterback and also our play caller. But we want that. We want that threat. We want the defensive coordinator, the defensive side of the ball that we're facing, to always be fearful of someone could get down the field behind them. And that helps us stretch both horizontally and vertically the coverage that we're seeing.
We got time left for just two more questions, so we're going to start on the left here with Joe.
Coach, South Florida's known for its tempo. What's going to be the team's approach, and how are you preparing for that this Saturday?
Yeah, we saw changes of tempo this last week, and that's something that we'll be certainly focused on. It's hard to simulate that in practice. We do have, I think, different ways you can do that within your scout team, and communication, substitutions. You got to be really on your game as a coaching staff, and the players being ready to find those opportunities where you can sub in, whether it's a different package or just someone needing a breather. And then being able to get your cleats in the dirt and being able to be ready to, when the ball snap, get off the ball. That's I think when we were, which was most of the game, able to do that, we got a consistent pass rush and really felt like we executed well. There was a couple times where we didn't have that, and we recovered. We kind of overwhelmed them sometimes this last week, but we need to make sure just we're always ready to play. And you need to get that first step on guys, and so that's what a tempo is trying to do. It's trying to catch you off guard. It's trying to not let you play fast or tire you out. And Coach Womack, he's seen it. He's very experienced. So is our staff. They'll all do a good job of preparing the guys this week.
Ariel, all the way in the back.
Coach, after you post a shutout win, both sides of the ball doing their jobs, but I wanted to ask you about the specialists, and what did you think about those guys on how to continue growing, specifically with the punt and kickoff return?
Yeah, that was, Burnup's just had a really good fall, all in all, and it did not surprise me that he was over 50 yards per kick. Did a nice job all night long. The snaps were all really good. Made all our kicks, the coverage units and everything. Got more touchbacks even as the game was going on. So I think our guys just got more comfortable. That was across the board, but it's specialists, especially the new ones that are, the kicking piece that maybe haven't played in Bryant Denny before. Those guys getting more and more comfortable. Those are valuable reps for them. So even just extra points and just feeling what it's like, the depth perception and all that comes along with each stadium. But, there should be a home field advantage piece to playing in your own. So all that stuff I thought was done at a high level. And so, they've worked hard for it, and we expect big things out of them all year long.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you. Roll Tide.
All right, that was Coach Kalen DeBoer after Alabama's first game. I appreciate you guys being here. I hope you guys like the format as well. I try to bring the press conference, along with my show. So starting on Mondays, I will have Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference along with my show. So I'll start at 10 a.m. on Mondays and then go through to Coach Kalen DeBoer's press conference. I wanted to cut, so I'll take your calls, guys, another time. Thank you. If I didn't get your calls, I'll get you guys maybe on tomorrow's show. But I wanted to go over a quick update real quick on Kadyn Proctor. I know there's a lot of people talking about Kadyn Proctor, wondering about Kadyn Proctor. I'm going to cut that in just a minute right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Let me get set up for that, and I'll be back in 1 second, and we'll close it out talking about Kadyn Proctor. I'm not sure, we'll go back and forth and probably come in a little bit too hot. There you go. Give me 1 second, and we'll close it out. Give me one commercial break, and I'll be right back on Bama Football on YouTube.
It's pretty surreal, here we are, many years.
All right, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Just about underway right here as we continue to talk about Coach Kalen DeBoer following his press conference. I'll go over that one more time because I want to talk about something he recently said about Kadyn Proctor. So I'm going to try to loop everything in here together. Give me 2 seconds. I do all the editing on the fly, so I appreciate you guys being patient with me as I bring all this information in. It's a labor of love, but it does get kind of intensive in terms of keeping the timestamps and kind of understanding where he said. So I appreciate you guys so much. So I'm going to do a video cut. You're going to see it live talking about Kadyn Proctor. So we'll kind of do some moving parts. And let me see where he talked about Kadyn Proctor. So it looks like minute 28. Give me 1 second. You're going to see me do like video surgery. All right, 3, 2, 1. What's going on? All right, 3, 2, 1. You see it live, the live cuts. All right, 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's going on? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. If you're watching this, you're probably watching it live. If not, I appreciate you guys watching the rewatch or the breaking update on from Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about Kadyn Proctor. Now, he just finished his Monday press conference, which you can watch in its entirety on Bama Football on YouTube, considering Kadyn Proctor. And he has an update. You know, it's an interesting update. I want to hear what he has to say again, so we're going to pipe in that press conference. It seems like, you know, it's an upper body injury. Now, he was injured before the game even started against Western Kentucky. Injuries happen at strange times. Seems like the beginning of that game had a lot of strange things to kind of kick off the season, right? The helmet communication, Kadyn Proctor, but they managed it very well. Here's the update from Coach Kalen DeBoer. I'll trim towards that update, so you'll see me working towards that. But I want to get your feedback. Let's listen to it one more time. Yeah, Chris, I'll catch you guys later, but let's listen to it one more time. Here's Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about Kadyn Proctor following his Monday press conference.
Took a knee there at the end, and then defensively, not giving up any scores on 2 attempts when they got in the red zone. The 2 takeaways early with Keon were really big with the momentum, really, got the crowd going in kind of about 10 or 15 minutes, whatever it was, where we take the field and everyone's ready to go, and then all of a sudden that delay in the action. So Keon's takeaways and a sack there early really got that momentum and energy back to our whole football team. So really pleased with where we're at week 1 and looking forward to making those big steps that I think usually exist going from week 1 to week 2.
All right, thank you, Coach. Start on the front here, right, Nick?
Yeah, two, if I can. First, what did the prognosis show for Kadyn Proctor? And also, when you watch the film of the offensive line, what did you see in terms of things you really liked and things to improve on?
Sure. Kadyn's got a shoulder situation there. It's one that we will be able to manage, and so that's a positive. And it was just something as we go through the week that we'll just continue to evaluate, and it probably won't be something early on here we'll be rolling with, but as the week goes on, be something we can continue to evaluate and be hopeful for. When it comes to the offensive line and this, the way they executed, I give Elijah a lot of credit. Has maybe played just a couple practices early in camp at left tackle, and for the most part was at right tackle. And I think he and Book took some pride in really trying to have a great game there and kind of rise up in the midst of that adversity. There's the big touchdown to Justice where we pulled both the right side, right guard, right tackle. That was fun to see because I thought there was some physicality on the front side, and then the pull doing a good job of adapting to what the defense was doing, and the trust that I think exists is probably something that's undervalued. The trust from the first puller to the second puller, and also the second puller to our tailback with Justice carrying the ball. So, that comes through repetition. That comes through talking about it. Protection-wise, they got to us early. With this one sack, but for the most part, I think our quarterbacks really felt comfortable back there. There was times where we picked up the protection, and I know Jalen had that explosive run there when we were deep in our own territory. That's, a tribute to the offensive line and our tailback all doing their jobs, Jalen trusting it, and when the seas parted, kind of abort the pass attempt and go take off and use your legs, and that's what I love to see from him on that play.
All right, that was Coach Kalen DeBoer providing an update on Kadyn Proctor. I agree with you inside the comment box. It did seem kind of a vague answer. So what I wrote down is he said it's just shoulder, and it's something that they can manage, and they're going to evaluate it. I mean, the thing about this year is you have to give an updated status on the players before actual game time. I don't know. I would say questionable at this time. So in his place will be Elijah Pritchett, who's starting at left tackle. Now, earlier in the press conference, we got to hear from Nick Sheridan. I think that's at minute 14:20. So I'll go to that right here, and we'll hear from Coach Sheridan talking about his probably new offensive tackle for this coming game. I don't know. Maybe that's too early to say. But anyways, here's offensive coordinator Nick Sheridan talking about Elijah Pritchett.
Loves football and loves to be coached. And so, we're excited to try to help him get better. And I know Coach Shep's excited to coach him tomorrow.
Stay on the right side of Matt.
I can kind of guess your answer if I ask for an injury status update on Kadyn Proctor. But what do you think of Elijah stepping into that spot?
I thought he did a nice job. I think we have confidence in the guys in that room, and you have to be ready when you're called upon. And, Coach Cap does an awesome job, as, you have to, as you cross-train. You train guys at multiple spots, left, right, inside, outside, because you want to make sure that you get your best 5 guys out there, no matter what the circumstances are. And so it's not the first time Pritch has played left tackle. Obviously he's had a lot of reps at that previously. He hasn't had as much, lately. But I thought he did a nice job. He showed toughness. And for him, unexpectedly to have to go in there, I thought he did a nice job.
All right, that was Coach Sheridan, who's the offensive coordinator here at the University of Alabama, talking about Elijah Pritchett. My closing remarks regarding, the coaches talking about their team following its victory over Western Kentucky. I love the mindset of this team. I love, Coach Kane Womack. I've really grew fond of him, to be honest. I think him coming out and talking about the fact that, we were talking on my show, what could the defense do better? These are the things that he wasn't happy about. He wants more turnovers, right? He wants more sacks. He's hungry, okay? When you look at kind of some takeaways from Nick Sheridan, he handles himself very well. Talked about Ryan Williams, talked about clearly Pritchett, and talked about calling some plays from the field in an emergency situation. Like that. And then from Coach Kalen DeBoer, my goodness, he just manages himself so well. And I really like that he allows his OC and DC to speak about his team even before he does. He hit on a lot of different points. We're going to talk about Jalen Milroe another time, and talks about kind of the progression of him. And they're all excited to see his growth. But when we look to the offensive line, and kind of what I wanted to gear this video about on my closing remarks, is it is concerning that we didn't get a full update on Kadyn Proctor. It is concerning that it is a shoulder, and it is concerning that you have a game on, in the third week to Wisconsin, and then you have open week, and then you take on Georgia. You got to be healthy in this season, right? Alabama's been relatively healthy, but I think the guys behind him are capable. Now, is it a step back if you have Elijah Pritchett? I don't know. It's up to him. You also have Wilkin Formby on the other side. The good thing about this last game was you had so many guys rotate in on the offensive line. I have not seen that under Coach Saban, specifically in the first game. We went over the Pro Football Focus grades. You can rewatch my lives. We went over all the snap counts. It was really impressive to see the amount of guys get in and out, guard, center, tackle. So Alabama certainly has a depth, but it is hard to get a guy to, replace Kadyn Proctor, who will be an NFL top 10 pick. So we will keep you posted. I guess the status update is questionable. What do you guys think? It seems like questionable to me. It was kind of a vague answer, but I appreciate you guys being on the show today. Thank you so much for joining me on this Monday. Remember, my Monday shows will now be at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, and then Tuesday through Friday, you can catch me at 9 a.m. live right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And, of course, on Saturdays, the watch-along right here on Bama Football on YouTube, 10 a.m. on Sundays. I got my segment where I kind of break things down, but I love you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for the super chats, for you guys being a fan funder inside the comment box. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Kyle Henderson at Bama Football on YouTube. Oh, somebody asked about the polo. I got this at the student store. So if you want, it's like a golf shirt. So go support, the university, and also support the players. If you go to Athletes Thread, you can buy player gear. I appreciate you guys supporting me, and I'll catch up with you guys next time right here on Bama Football on YouTube as news happens. Thank you so much for